start recording just because we want to share the thoughts. I mean, hey, Raymond, welcome. And if we have any elected officials, we have Nancy and Lindsay kind of like going through the list. But if you could type a private message to me or to Nancy or Lindsay, so we could recognize you later on the meeting, as we know many of them will roll in. But again, my name is John Moreno-Escobar. I'm one of the organizers of this meeting. I wanted to thank Nancy Fry, Lindsay, and also Jessica Valenzuela for helping us putting this thing together today, and also for helping us in the past to put this event together on Monday. Just to give you some context for the newbies here, last week we received an email from, some of us received emails from our principals saying that the CDC guidelines will not be followed, and then social physical distancing will be relaxed, which brought a big concern into the community. And some of us posted on social media. And the beauty of organizing in social media is that everyone has a voice, and we were able to connect through social media. And we put an event together that Monday to really making sure that people were able to share their thoughts about what was happening at the school district. We had almost 100 people. We had the BTU president, Ana Fusco, which I think she's going to connect, or she's connecting. And then we had 3 board members. We had Sarah Leonardi, Debbie Hickson, and Nora Rupert attending our meeting and taking notes. And they did a little bit of a comment at the beginning. The dynamic of tonight, it's really for all of us to share and listen. This video and what we are sharing today is going to go via notes and via video to the school board and the superintendent. As I'm reading here in our chat, everyone agrees to the specific rules. So if you are new to these meetings, we have rules that are built through the community that is here, almost 300 people, which is respect, listening to each other, have your microphone in mute if you're not talking, and you could keep reading those rules at the bottom on the chat. So please make sure that you're following those rules. We all going to have between 2 to 3 minutes to share. As always, I'm going to just put this icon, which is the heart, or any of the individuals in our team. Sometimes I'm just listening, that it's just like, I forgot about the time. And so Nancy and Lindsay also going to make sure that we keep it on time. So 3 minutes tops for each one of you to speak. And if you want to speak, you just have to raise your hand. And we're gonna make sure to go through everyone tonight. Last meeting was 2 hours. It was really powerful. It was really insightful. And that's what we want today as well. But before we start, I would like to just give also some context, because there's a couple of things that happened in the last 48 hours that got me more concerned than before. We received a robocall from the superintendent saying that this effort was a way to mislead and misinform our community, which is not true. We all receive messages from principals in different schools, elementary, middle, and high school, saying the 6 feet will be relaxed. This is not something that we created, or there is not something that we are making up. This is something that we received. There are emails and pictures that we received from parents all over Broward County saying that they were worried about what's happening. We also received a lot of communications from staff, me personally, saying that schools will not be following CDC guidelines, because CDC guidelines were just that, guidelines, and there was no need to follow them. So we wanted to make sure that all of you know that the CDC guidelines have been followed by every single school district in the country. They've been relaxed, but they've been relaxed by telling parents and teachers in the community that they will be relaxed, not by saying behind their backs that they will be relaxed, and then they going to relax it without telling us. That's what they try to do this time. Also, we were talking about the accommodations for our teachers. And if you are a teacher tonight, I just want to say thank you for everything that you doing. You are our community heroes. You're being stretched to the limits. You're being so generous with your time, with your money, with your stress, with your mental health. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And you will be always a hero for all our community. So I wanted to make sure that everyone who's an educator here gets a clap. So there is an icon here on your bottom right, and I want everyone to clap right there. Or you could clap with your hands on mute. Or you could do this, right? Thank you, Jessica, the educators here. Or you could just be like this. Thank you so much, educators. You are the ones who are transforming and reinventing education for us every day. And you are the responsibles for the individuals that are here today as student leaders, the Raymonds, the Roccos. You are incredible. And last but not least, we wanted to make sure that you guys know that we are with you. If you have a medical condition and you were pushed to go back to the classroom, that is unacceptable. And we are here to hear you and to try to be a voice for you. For some of you that don't know, there is more than 1,700 teachers that were accommodated at the beginning for their condition, for the medical condition. Not too long ago, only 600 out of those 1,700 were accepted to stay at home or accommodated with what we call ADA accommodations. That is unacceptable. It's only 35% of that total. And yesterday, if you saw the social media, on my social media, we said Miami-Dade Public Schools accommodated 80% of the teachers that were having medical conditions. We could do better in our district. Also, just to finish, I want to make sure that all of you know that our student body and its students are putting together a flash mob, and we will talk about that. It's a way to make sure that our school district knows that it's not just about us parents and teachers and adults. There is also our youth who are activating their activism, and they're going to do a flash mob, and we're going to have more information later from Raymond. And Raymond, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you and I were working on this. So we will bring Raymond in a minute to talk about the flash mob. So thank you again for everyone who's here. And now I'm going to pass the mic to our BTU president, the fearless and non-sleep, because now I know that she doesn't sleep. I didn't know her that well now, but I text her at 11 o'clock. She gets back to me. And I was like, Anna, go to sleep. Anna Fusco, which, these days have not been easy for me in particular, just because I took the lead on this, and I got already a lot of messages of don't get involved, stay away. I got also a lot of encouragement from people. So it's been a little stressful because my wife doesn't want me to do this activism stuff. But I'm here because I feel that we need a voice, and I'm trying with Nancy and with Lindsay to be a voice for everyone. So Anna, the mic is yours. You have up to 3 minutes, like everyone else.
Thank you. All right, hey guys, good afternoon. By the way, I have you on my Facebook Live. So if you guys want to go back and view it after, I missed a few minutes of it. We are planning lots of plans so we can have advocacy for all of our educators and support staff. And until when that happens, guys, your kids have safe schools. I've been out and about walking schools every single day. I'm doing the count on the schools to see what's really in there, and do they, really have this big ginormous call that they need these. And John, it's 1,600 teachers that got accommodated. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are not adding up. Our schools are saying one number. I'm out there physically counting every classroom, and they're just not adding up. So I want to tell you all that your children that are staying home to work remote, they need those remote teachers. The students that go back in for physical face-to-face, yes, they need that teacher for physical face-to-face, but figuring out to cram kids in classrooms, purposely moving out furniture, taking away space that they can have those small group interactions, putting them in places where I was in classrooms that there's walls that are blocking. If a teacher's in a certain spot, they're not going to be able to see a child. They're doing last minute rushes of schedule changes starting today. There was no plan. And this is the point that I want to bring out to everybody. It's not that we're battling or combating or fighting that, kids shouldn't go back or the teachers shouldn't go back. It's the piece that they didn't have a plan. They didn't legitimately have a plan. They are giving you guys information that this is what they're doing and they're not really doing it. And then they go and they rush and they scatter around, and that puts your kids in a stress. That puts you guys in a stress. Your students have a right to know what's going on. I see some parents on here that I've dealt with when we were all battling of getting back into the school 5 days face to face, where it wasn't we were saying don't get them back in, give the actual plan of what it's going to look like when they get back in. We have teachers that are still asking for re-up on PPE. Make sure those soap dispensers are filled up. Make sure the hand sanitizing is happening. Who's really cleaning? The COVID positive cases have not stopped. Some of your schools, the whole cafeteria staff is out. Some of your schools, the whole security staff is out. Some of your schools, the whole custodial staff is out. We just lost a 15-year veteran custodian at Nova High that was 35 years old from COVID. There are so many things that are happening. If our COVID cases are 1,700 when they weren't anywhere out of the double digit range when we opened up schools in the physical October 9th, that shows you that cases can spread. And all we're saying is that we know that we're not over this battle, but we do need to continue to work together to show that we want healthy schools, we want safe schools, and it can be done. But when you've got district leadership that is just throwing it out there business as usual, and there's no real solid plan, and they're telling you one thing and it's really not happening, you guys should be concerned, and you have a right to ask. The students and the parents have a right to know. The teachers have a right to know. And the teachers get put in scare tactics that they're not allowed to have a conversation. They're not allowed to tell you that, we just had 4 or 5 kids that tested positive or need to quarantine. We need to tell you who they are, but it's happening in the schools. And as a parent, I want to know. As a student, Rocco deserves to know. As a student, Raymond deserves to know. As a student, Andrew deserves to know. And the parent, as of Rod and Lindsay and Nancy and John, that you guys have been around all the time, you have a right to know. I think that you've seen that we've evolved, that the teachers genuinely care. We want to get this job done. But every single day, you need to understand, teachers are getting a different message of what is expected of them. And principals are getting a different message of what is expected of them. That is not fair, because then it's everything is up in the air, and figure it out mentality is not appropriate. So I really appreciate that everybody's here advocating I believe a common goal: health and safety and secure for all of our students, all of our teachers and support staff in our schools. And that includes from the principal down. Everybody in a school site right now is working on overtime and overload of what do we get done and how we're getting it done. And I'm telling you right now, they're working in fear, and that's not fair. You know what it's like as a parent. If you're stressed or you're showing fear, your children know it. They feel it. And trust me, when your children's teacher is working under fear and they have anxiety and they're not feeling well, they know it. Your children know it. And they love us as we love them. So we appreciate you guys doing this. We're going to keep moving along and just advocating for just the truth. You guys have a right to have the truth. I'm curious to hear how this flash mob is going to work out. I know, John, that we're working strong together, that at the board meeting next Wednesday, getting a press conference together. I've already talked to my team. I've got a great plan for you guys. You're going to be heard. You're going to be mentioning what you need to get it out, not only to the other families that are in your school, to the whole public of Broward County. So I'm going to turn it back over to you guys. Thank you for letting me be part of this. I might have to get off a little bit, but I'm going to keep Facebook going because I got to get on another Zoom call that we're in the plan of, if you're not familiar, we did file a lawsuit. We did file some grievances so we can get some answers. So it all takes plan. It all takes strategy, because everything we've asked for, the district has denied us. So when we're telling you, when we don't know what's going on, we really don't know what's going on. And I've been in this district for decades, and it's something that I've never seen. And it's through a pandemic when people's lives are at stake, their livelihoods are at stake. It's not acceptable. And some of your spouses or your children or community people that don't understand what you're doing, I'm telling you, you keep doing it, you keep speaking what you need to do, you keep putting forward, they are going to figure it out that this is what you need to do. John, I heard you say your wife wasn't so sure she wanted to continue to do it. It took my husband, it took a while for him to get it. And I would say, you know what, why don't you come watch what I'm doing? Actually physically come. And then now he gets it. He gets it. He understands it. He supports me on it. And he says, God forbid, if people didn't stand up for other people, people would be in trouble. So he really gets it. And what better weekend to really show unity and love and care and concern. It's Martin Luther King weekend. It's celebrated on Monday. I'm getting my special message out to our members. What a message we can bring to people that we're doing this now. We're planning something for next week. Martin Luther King fought to make sure people were treated right and treated equally. And we need to do this more than ever. So I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to turn it back over to you, John. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ann, and thank you for being here since the first meeting and meeting with us and talking to us and listening to us. That is all we want. I know we have a couple of elected officials. I want to make sure that they just share their thoughts before anything. We have, and I don't know if they want to talk. So some of them might have to run. But Sabrina, do you want to share some thoughts before we move forward? From Hallandale Beach. Then
they can't unmute themselves. Give me a second. I'm trying to find her on the participants list.
There's cool. Okay, no
Takes
worries,
a minute.
no worries, no worries. This is what happened when we keep getting people. We almost have 400 people. This is amazing.
Hi, John. Nancy, everybody.
Oh, hey, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Commissioner Sabrina Havayana from the city of Hallandale Beach. I'm really happy to join tonight. I listened to everyone's stories and testimony on Tuesday night, and it is quite frightening. I'm actually preparing to take the teaching exam for social studies on Tuesday. So knowing, how our school district treats our teachers and values them and our parents, very troubling. I'm here to advocate for all of you in any way possible. I know we had some Hallandale Beach Gulfstream Academy teachers on here on Tuesday. I put my contact info in the chat, and we've been advocating to the school board, to the Broward County Commission, to the state at every level, asking for the state to provide vaccines to our teachers. But keep piling on emails and reach out to us in any way that we can advocate for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. And then we also have Denise from Plantation. If she's not on for sound, we have also Representative Dan Dilley.
Hi, John.
Oh,
John,
here you go,
I'm
Denise.
here.
Go ahead.
I had to wait till Nancy unmuted me.
I know,
Thanks.
sorry.
Listen, City of Plantation Council President Denise Horland here. I was also on the other evening and was very concerned with the stories I was hearing. I don't want to take up too much time. You don't need to hear from another elected official. Your stories are what is important, but I will concur with what my colleague Sabrina Javiana said. We are both sending letters. We are contacting the Legislative County Commission, trying to use our voice to ensure that the teachers are vaccinated and that we are ensuring the safety of the teachers and the students. So just know that we've got your back and we are fighting for you as well. And thank you again for organizing, everyone.
Awesome. And I don't know, Nancy, we have Representative Dan Dilley. I know he was can't stay. I'm taking off Tallahassee to come home. Keep doing what you're doing. All right, so he just sent me a private message. He was at the airport, so we appreciate it. At least he got to connect, and hopefully he could get to listen a little bit of what we are saying here. Okay, so with that, just another update as we move forward. Today we receive unofficial numbers. I want to make sure that this is something that we share here. We had unofficial numbers of the return to classes since we know that the students were invited because of their academic performance or parents wanting to bring their kids back into the classroom. What we know as far as information that we gather from different places, again, unofficial, we haven't heard from the school board. We requested the information today. We got an email back saying that they are reviewing. Somebody from their PIO office is going to get back to us, and also from their the records office is going to get back to us. They told us that unofficially from different sources, they told us that around 27% of the student population, it's in brick and mortar instruction. Before that was 20%. So only 7% increase, or 7% more actually went into the classes in person. And you know, and that is the number that we have. So I wanted to make sure that we give that out. Also, the Broward delegation put a letter out that we sent to everyone who now we have their email. So we sent them out that yesterday, I believe, that says that they put a letter together asking Governor DeSantis to put teachers and school workers and bus drivers on the list of essential workers so they could get the vaccine as soon as possible. And that is where I want to second what the president of Plantation just mentioned, the city of Plantation mentioned, which is we have to make sure that we also doing the Tallahassee work, and it's making sure that we advocate for the vaccines at the Tallahassee level. With that, I'm going to move into the list. I know I have Raymond first. So Raymond, you're going to have some extra time, 1 more minute to talk about the flash mob. You could give us some details. I know that we've been organizing it, but this is something that the students came up with. And I want to make sure that we all support it because they are the future of our county or country. So we wanted to support them when they're doing great things like this one. So Raymond, the mic is yours. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and you have 4 minutes. You have a minute extra just because of the flash mob. And then your statement.
Thank you, John, and good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be back here. I shared with John briefly, I spoke here at the last meeting, and I shared with John last meeting that hearing the concerns of parents and students and teachers really warmed my heart, and I walked out of that meeting with a fresh breath of advocacy, and I was really so proud of all of us rallying together. First of all, I want to say hi, a big hi to Miss Starr, who's on. I see Miss Starr. Hi, Miss Starr. Miss you so much. And I also want to say hi to Miss Siegel. Miss Siegel, I miss you too. And I hope to see you all soon. I haven't seen you all yet, but if you are at school, I hope that you are safe, and I will plan on coming to see you soon. But my personal relationships with teachers are kind of just how I am. First of all, my mother is a teacher. And because my mom was a teacher, I have a special heart for teachers far and wide, not only in this district, but everywhere. The urgency that we need to take to solve this matter regarding teacher ADAs and regarding teacher safety is something that has been far neglected by this board. Quite frankly, I believe that going forward, like I shared last time, the only way that we can get our teachers to stay at home is to come up with feasible solutions that work for us all. And the necessity for teachers in the classroom is great. I will agree. But the necessity also for teachers who are sick to stay at home is even greater. And with that being said, we need to come in to this meeting today with some solution that we can give the school board. And I'll offer one. As someone who's lost 2 teachers already due to teachers resigning and leaving their post, I relate firsthand and I understand firsthand. And that's why students and John and I, we have all worked together to plan this flash mob in front of the KCW building to advocate for not only teachers, but to advocate for every single issue that we have found to be neglected by this board. From the failures and the incompetence and the mistakes of the Smart Bond project, which have not given our students in low-income districts the infrastructure that they need for learning, we're going to speak to that. For the students who are neglected every time a decision is made, when their cameras are forced to be on, when they have mold on the back of their walls, we're going to advocate for that. For collapsing roofs and moldy classrooms that teachers have to sit in, we're going to advocate for that. So we're asking for your help on January 26th from 9:30 to 9:45. As many people who are going to be there, we support you in being there. We're meeting today. We're going to meet sometime next week, and we're going to plan out each and every aspect of this flash mob. But the way we're going to do this is we're going to all come together. We're going to plan a dress code, and we are going to speak to the issues that matter. Because at the end of the day, we have to hold those in power accountable. They represent us, and we have to remember and let them know that they represent us, and it's not the other way around. So quite frankly, here's what we're going to say to the school board. We're going to tell them that you're going to work on our behalf because we voted you in, and this is what we require from you. We are not asking for anything more than what we are required to have. And that's just the bottom line. So to every teacher that's on this call, know that I've been working for you. I've been holding my own personal administration accountable for maintaining social distancing at schools and ensuring that teachers are given the PPE that they need. And don't worry, teachers that are not at my school. My advocacy also extends to you on the many school board committees that I serve on. I ensure that your access to technology is given to you and you are receiving that. And I also ensure that you continue to remain safe. And for our teachers and for students who are on this call, I advocate for you two each and every day. And for parents, know that I hear your concerns because again, my mom was a teacher. She's also a parent of 4 boys, me included, and I'm the oldest. So as a parent too, she relates as well. And because it bothers her, it bothers me. And for every other parent on this call, I'll continue to represent your children. I'll continue to represent you, keep you in the loop, and ensure that you remain safe. But most importantly, your teachers do as well. So I hope you'll join us for the flash mob that we're going to have on January 26th, holding the school board accountable. And most importantly, I hope that you all continue to remain safe and responsible. And I hope most importantly that you remember each and every day that the teachers are working hard for you and you continue to give them your support. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Raymond. And so flash mob, January 26, 2020, more information coming up. If you don't know what is a flash mob, Google it. It's pretty cool. I have done many of them in my activist career in New York City and here. So I hope that a lot of people come and that we stay the 6 feet apart. They're not going to be relaxing those 6 feet apart. We're going to be CDC guidelines with our mask on, but we will do something really cool to advocate. I'm going to pass it to the president of our students, Rocco Diaz. Rocco, we got you 3 minutes.
Thank you. I want to give a special shout out to my Flying L family here. And I wanted to say, I met with Superintendent Runcie yesterday, and the first issue we brought up was these teacher accommodations. And I told him exactly what I would tell any person in power in a situation like this, that since staff couldn't grant teachers the bare minimum, reinstate these accommodations, we're now going to have this argument in public, in front of an audience. So I will continue applying pressure and I will continue to speak out, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I didn't get involved in this to be pro-Runcie or anti-Runcie, and I didn't get involved in this to be pro-staff or anti-staff. But when people have to risk their lives to come to school, that's where I draw the line. And we all know that every student has a stake in the well-being of their teachers. So keep applying the pressure, and I'll be right there with you because everyone knows teacher well-being translates to student well-being. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep it brief, that's all.
Thank you, Rocco. Powerful but brief. I have Sarah, and I'm sorry again on the last names, Ribnick. It's Ribnick, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Sarah. Give me 1 second. Boom, you got it.
Everyone, first I want to thank the organizers for getting this together. It is very appreciated. I actually happen to be exceedingly lucky that I work at Heron Heights Elementary. My principal is wonderful, and she made sure that all 9 of us that had accommodations originally were able to stay home. I had to have a bit of a change in position. So I teach STEM. I'll be putting asynchronous work up while doing reading and math pull-out support for our 3rd and 4th graders. However, I'm still in this fight because a lot of my colleagues are not as blessed as I am to have this opportunity. And it's not anything that the other principals couldn't do. It's other principals are not doing. And I had a very long talk with one of my son's teachers who's, she's at the high school level and is amazing and runs a fantastic program. I wasn't sure if she was going to be able to continue. And that breaks my heart because she's phenomenal. One of his teachers from last year, who he said was his best teacher he's had in high school, is retiring. He's a retired chemist who wanted to teach because he loves what he does and loves the kids, and it wasn't worth risking his health. I am personally immunocompromised. I was just in the hospital a couple of days ago with chest pains. It turned out to just be high blood pressure, but just high blood pressure is another very high risk category. So now I'm at kind of a triple threat, as it were. But the main thing I came on really to say is when I was at the hospital, my first stop was outside a room. When they told the nurse to take me to hallway 19, that literally meant the bed outside room 19 in the hallway. It took 3 or 4 hours before I could get into an ER room. And then it took another 12 hours before I could get upstairs. And that 12 hours is because 95% of Coral Springs Medical Center is full of COVID patients. And as I was checking out, I was informed that the bed that I was in, the person before me had COVID. They test everybody when they go in. Those rapid tests are not really accurate. And she ended up with COVID. I'm okay because everything was sterilized when I got in there. My roommate had 50% lung function and has lung disease and is likely going to need a lung transplant and was in the room with this woman. This is so incredibly serious. The whole reason we were home in the first place was to keep our hospitals from being overloaded. They are full to capacity. And the main reason for that is people are out living their best lives. The nurse told me that he had a father, it's like an uncle, a father, and a mother, let's say. There were 3 family members, and all 3 of them are now dead after their stint in the ICU, one of which came back twice because they had a family gathering without masks because, you know, they're family. And so they thought it was okay to go and have these gatherings. I have not seen my nieces in 10 months. The little one is 2. It kills me to not be able to pick her up and smush her cheeks and just love on her. And I won't go near them. If everyone is, you know, would take this seriously, maybe this would not be such a horrific situation that we're in. The fact that the board is forcing us to go back into unsafe conditions where the social distancing is being relaxed, where these families are out living their best life and doing whatever they want, going to Disney, going to restaurants, playing sports and getting together, they're putting it all at risk, and it is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And now I want to recognize our Commissioner, Nancy Mateer from Coral Springs. Commissioner? Do we have her, guys?
Yeah, she just unmuted.
Perfect. Oh, hey, Nancy. Sorry. Yes, Commissioner. We cannot hear you. No. Are you okay? You was us letting the next speaker go, and then while you fix the audio? Perfect. Okay. Okay, Commissioner. Perfect. All right. So now I'm gonna move to Marcy Hollinger. Why you guys put me to say all these names? I'm really bad at names, so I apologize beforehand. Ms. Nolan knows that. I'm really bad with names. Marcy?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hi. I just went back to work today. Had quite a bit of anxiety. I have systemic lupus and haven't been out of the house at all until today. And I'm probably over the next couple of weeks, it's supposed to be really, really bad. I'm thinking I'm going to have to use all my time off to take some days just to dilute the risk a little bit. I wanted to know what you thought about that and about offering. You said we were going to have to make some consolation to the school board why don't we offer them that when we have a completed vaccine, meaning the booster and the original, then I'd be happy to go back. I love seeing the kids today, but I put myself in peril for 5 kids and 200 of them at home. So I'm very upset. I'm ready to become an activist like you. And I want to know what you think. They're kind of not, some of the teachers are still virtual. I'm not privy to their health. I don't know. There was tier 1 and tier 2. Is tier 2 had to go back, but tier 1 didn't? Is that what happened?
All teachers were asked to go back. They did not decide tier 1 or tier 2. Principals were given the option to decide who could work remote. Mr. Runcie did tell us that if principals were able to accommodate for remote, if the school could, handle it, that they needed to look at the list for the tiers that the teachers were granted accommodations. So how the district did it was everybody who was categorized under CDC guidelines tier 1, they were granted to work remote. And then they asked the principals, those that had tier 2, which would be your condition, if the principals can handle that, accommodate, to handle for everyday operations to allow you to continue to work remote. And over 98% of our principals were only willing to allow to accommodate tier 1, which again was other pieces that were violations of our MOU. We were not brought into good faith negotiations with those kind of conversations. All of those decisions came after October 31st, when they started approving and denying the accommodations, because there was 4,600 that did apply. So HR Chief Alan Strauss decided to make some dates that were going to be put in place, and decided to what tiers were going to be accommodated. So basically 2s, 3s, and 4s were all just denied. And the group that was approved was our tier 1s, which was about 1,600. We are working very desperately to get Superintendent Runcie and Alan Strauss to understand that with only about 30% of our student population back in and 70% that are still remote. And I'm walking these schools every single day, and I'm telling you, I'm seeing classrooms with 1 student, 2 students. There's a few schools that may have maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 students in them. They can't figure it out where the students that are home working remote, that let's look at those teachers that are our most sick, our most vulnerable, that have some serious health conditions. If they contract COVID, they will die, that they be granted to work remote with our students that are choosing to be remote. It's very important. And I have to tell you, our attorneys and our leadership team here in Broward Teachers Union have never seen in the history of over 40 plus years any employment organization ignore the health and safety of their employees. And by Superintendent Runcie and Alan Strauss ignoring our asks and our proof of how they really need our teachers to be in schools, they are just blatantly ignoring. And to ignore that we needed to get a expedited arbitration, and they allowed their attorney, Barbara Myrick, at a school board workshop to say that, yes, the Broward Teachers Union asked for an expedited arbitration to at least give our teachers and our support staff an answer from a judge. And they said no, they were not willing to work with us to grant it. So it is very disheartening to show no value from our superintendent, our HR chief, and some of our board members, that they just say it doesn't matter. Whatever your severe illness is, just get back in. And if you die, you die. And I'm saying that term because that is exactly the attitude that they have.
Thank you, Anna. And we have a couple of people actually that sent me a DM asking me how they know which tier they are. Do they get an email? I guess some people confused also. Maybe this is a question that could be answered on the chat, but.
Yeah, it's just real quick, John, everybody that applied got an email stating what tier they were in and why they were approved or denied. So, and if anybody that does not have that answer, they can quickly email Gilbert Crispin and EEO, and he will give them an answer.
Perfect. And again, I want to make sure that people know that you could ask your questions, you could comment. You don't have to send it on the chat. The idea here is to record it so we could have it, even though we will share, as we did in our first email to the superintendent and the board. We will create a PDF document with all the comments, all the different information from different members of the community, so they could have it on record from the meeting. But just make sure that you are raising your hand on the chat. If you don't know how to do that on Zoom, you're new to Zoom, just send me a DM and I will put you on the list. All right, so I think now, Commissioner Mateo, your microphone is working. So welcome a dear friend of mine, an incredible leader, an activist, our Commissioner Nancy Mateo. Welcome to the meeting.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me this evening. First and foremost, I want to say, woo.
Can you mute one of the devices that you're listening in on?
Is this better?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm so sorry, having technical difficulties. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you to all our teachers, staff, and our administrators on this call. I know this is a very difficult time for you to also be present during a COVID, not only for your students, but your families. I understand this is very trying for you. I come into this space as an ally, someone that is willing to put herself on the line to ensure that you all are safe. I am committed to making your safety and the safety of our students, staff, and administrators a priority of mine. Whatever I need to do to ensure that you all are being heard, please feel free to reach out to me. I've heard from a number of parents and a number of individuals who work in schools in my community about how they feel, especially about getting vaccinated. And that is something that I will actively speak on and ensure that you all get the resources and the support that you need. Again, I'm in this space to listen, to learn, and to also ensure that I amplify any of your needs. So thank you so much. Please call me Nancy. I'm here as someone who is an ally again, and someone who's here to support you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mateo. And now I'm going to move to Patricia Harrington.
Thank you. I'm a Broward County public school teacher of 24 years, but I've got some other FRS, so I'm 15 months to retirement, but it's too big a hit, so I want to stay for the 15 months. I had numerous tier 1 conditions, and I'll tell you, I have an autoimmune, not from an organ transplant, which causes the weight, so I have the high BMI. I went from pre-diabetic to diabetic. I read up. It's because of stress, which is most likely from last year because I was pre-diabetic for years. So because of that, I also have lung nodules, but I didn't put that in the ADA because I couldn't get the pulmonologist. But anytime I get a cold, it turns into bronchitis. So I was on ADA, got the same January 11th like everybody else. I saw a notice to, I could sign up for vaccine and got an appointment. So I called out sick Monday so I could take the appointment. I called out sick Tuesday for part of it because I had a headache as a side effect, but also I was waiting for the FMLA leave that they're really backed up. I got called by admin on Tuesday saying I needed to come in because there were a lot of kids in my grade level coming in. So she had me come in after the kids left on Tuesday at 12:30 to set up my room. I walk in. We were told back in October it was going to be 12 kids. All the rooms that are identical to mine, it says 12 kids. I walk in, there's 18 desks. I'm told my desk is right by the window. She said, you're fine, you're away, you're 6 feet. So I'm thinking, okay, how bad can this be? Well, it's worse than I thought. Not only is it that I'm full, I've got 18 kids face to face. They're not all mine. They pulled my virtual kids because there are virtual kids. I had 8 virtual kids. My face-to-face kids were in 3 other classes, which was hard enough trying to teach them with 3 other teachers in the background. But my 8 virtual kids were pulled. I was given 8 face-to-face kids from other teachers. So I have kids I don't even know. And I get in the barrage of emails that I've gotten since Tuesday, I need to sign up for a formal observation. I can't distance from them because I have to be around. I'm not allowed to use Teams. I have to use a projector in the middle of the room. So I'm nowhere near 6 feet apart from any of these kids. Some of my kids that were pulled from me were put into me second quarter because they moved a teacher into a different grade level because of numbers. So they're on their 3rd teacher now. They didn't tell any of the parents. I had parents texting me Wednesday morning, why can't I get into your teams? Because they didn't know their kid had been moved. So, you know, I'm at a loss. I'm still waiting for FMLA, which I really didn't want to do. I can afford it. I have 68 sick days. I was going to go to California last summer, so I've been saving up for 4 years so I can afford to stay home. I didn't want to stay home and take FMLA. I wanted to teach virtually at least until I got the second vaccine on February 3rd, but I was told I can't do that. And I don't get it. The other 3 teachers well, one is gifted, but the other 2 teachers that are teaching typical kids, they're doing hybrid. They have kids at home and they have my former kids at home. And I just don't know where we're at. The PE coach came in today. Admin comes in and sits in my classroom for informal observations, I guess. She was in there for at least an hour, not consecutive today, and at least that long yesterday. The custodians come in and out, the computer guys in and out. And so I've had as many as 20 people in my room that's supposed to have 12. And I don't know what to do. I've been sending poor Cammy these long emails just to document everything. And this is where I'm at. I'm waiting to see what happens with the lawsuit. I'd like to be at least either staying in my little corner in my room and teaching using Teams mostly and checking on them once in a while, make sure what they're doing, or something at least until I can get the second vaccine. So I'm waiting on you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harrington, and thank you for sharing tonight. This is the stories that we keep hearing, and they're powerful. So thank you for sharing. And again, we want to make sure that you know that you have an ally on us. We will try to do our best. Ms. Fusco, you have any comments?
I just want to say one thing, John, but I need people to understand that we have hundreds and hundreds of stories like this that people send me their emails and they send me messages that I can't share because they're too scared for me to share. I have hundreds like Patricia's that where they're forced back into their classroom, and you see how she's not getting support to get ready to get in there face to face. Instead, there's pressures, there's anxiety tactics. I mean, there's no reason why she should be having to be told for any type of observation right now. We're still building the plane as we're flying it on transitioning back in with our face-to-face, and tons of our students that are planning on coming back are the ones that have come back. So these are the things that we're trying to explain, that it's more than just going back into the school and feeling you could contract COVID. It's all the other pieces that build together that gives a big boom on our teachers. There's no reason why our teachers should be feeling like this. It's not acceptable. And to have our superintendent and our HR chief and our other chiefs and the majority of our board members just ignore us and feel that that's okay and acceptable when this is about the health and safety of our educators it is really deplorable. And every email and every message we get, I always ask, are you willing to share? Will you have a conversation with the board? Will you speak out? And 99% are like, no, I'm scared. I'm scared I'm going to lose my job. I'm scared I'm going to get retaliated on. So those are some of the other pressures that our teachers are going through. We're in such a loving, nurturing, caring field, but our management in Broward County Public Schools, they're not loving and nurturing. They want to just pressure and make people feel like you're lucky you have a job and, business as usual. And our teachers are starting to feel that way when they shouldn't feel that they're lucky to have a job. People should be feeling lucky that you have teachers that are still here and showing up and wanting to get it done. And by the way, our teachers legitimately love and want to do their job. They just want to be safe. They want to be healthy, and they want to be treated great. That's how it should be. That's how I remember it used to be. And those of you that are adults now, think about how when you were in school, how you cared and you respected and you loved your teachers. And that is just, the tides have changed where it's like it's okay to be unprofessional and rude and disrespectful and make people feel like that they don't deserve to be valued. And that's what it's come to. And that is why we are speaking out so strongly the way we are speaking out. And the messages that we're putting out with against our superintendent and our HR chief, they're not false and fake news. Those are things that have really happened, have come about to where we want you guys to know what our teachers are living.
Thank you, Anna. I just want to, I'm trying to go through messages on the chat. I want to just make a statement before we move to Mayor Simmons, which is here from Coral Springs. I wanted to make sure that people feel comfortable sharing what you're sharing. So don't feel that you're being, it takes a lot of courage to share what we're sharing here. Even my conversation with the superintendent, even my conversation with my assistant principal, my conversation with my principal, right? It takes courage to share this because maybe some people want to tell you don't speak. We have many conversations with people who are here tonight that got messages or conversations say, don't speak, don't go to these meetings, don't speak up. It takes courage. And so I want to encourage you to keep doing it. If you don't want to share your medical condition, if you don't want to share your name, you want to do it on private, I will put my email down there and then you could email it and we will attach it to the report that we send it to the superintendent and the school board. But don't feel there is no pressure. If you feel that you want to share tonight, yes, it's going to be online. Yes, it's going to be recorded. If you feel comfortable, do it. If you don't, we completely understand. You could send it to me. We could put it on writing as an anonymous comment and, off it goes. But we have to be brave. And Anna was talking about Martin Luther King. If you will be quiet and not spoke for all the individuals around him, then we will never be or have the liberties and the principles that he has stated in this country. So sometimes we have to be brave. That's all. All right, Vice Mayor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Just good evening, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm not really trying to take anyone's time, but before I was a commissioner or an elected official in Coral Springs, I was a teacher at Pompano Beach Middle School and a teacher now at Coral Springs High School. So the things that I said in the chat is from the conversations that I've had with other teachers, the conversation that I've had with my wife, conversations that I had with myself, because I felt like all the decisions were being made without including teachers. And you cannot make decisions like this when we're supposed to be in a collaborative environment between the teacher, the student, and the parent. And I had already felt like teachers were kind of on an island before the pandemic and everything like that. And I feel like since the pandemic's happened, that situation has exacerbated itself. And so I've had so many conversations. I've, at the beginning of everything happening and working on teachers coming back into the school, I made calls to my school board members. I made calls downtown to try to work on things to, make teachers feel that they're valued. And I think what's happening here is, we're not even creating spaces for teachers to express themselves. And that is a huge problem. And especially when you look at the fact that there's discrepancies in the amount of, or the low amount of teachers that are able to work remote. I mean, it almost became a joke at school. It was like, hey, do you know anyone that requested accommodation actually got it? And more often than not, the answer was no. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, every teacher I know loves their kids. They love their students. They enjoy teaching. Trust me, with the pay we get, we love our kids. But we needed someone in this time to show love for us. And unfortunately, that has not been happening. And so, we're going to continue to stand up, continue to speak out, and whatever we can do to continue to make sure that teachers feel loved and feel valued, that's what we're going to do. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing and for your advocacy. And of course, as a teacher, you understand many of the things that are happening. So we thank you for your time to be here and to listen and to also become another ally to this space, which we had to create because we didn't have the ability to share this on a regular board meeting at 9 a.m. Like I have my son on online school. I can't just go to the KCW or just sending emails that they will never read. All right, so next we have Alan Sharpless, and I'm gonna put Valentina on hold. Alan?
Hi, Alan Sharples. I'm a social studies teacher at Crystal Lake Middle School. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's here fighting for us. It means a lot. I mean, I've been a wreck since we came back, but I just want to say that they're not even allowing schools to have individual plans. My school, up until, well, starting tomorrow, we were holding our students in first period, minimizing movement as much as possible to keep students from going from place to place, touching a lot of things. And we've held that. And from what I can understand from the dashboard, our numbers were one of the lowest in the county as far as having COVID positive results. And we were told that tomorrow, that all goes away. So not only have my friends and colleagues that have pre-existing conditions, not only do they have to come back, but we're being told that the system that we had agreed on as a school with administration and kept in place for our safety is being thrown out the window. And it's terrifying that we have to go through this, and we were good. And I don't understand why we have to put that away when it was working. Our numbers as far as students that came back haven't gone up that much. From what I understand, we went from 20 to 25 from what I've heard on the count, 20-25%. So not a huge spike, at least not as high as it could be, but now we're being told that we don't even have options to compromise or to reduce potential. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for leaving your comment here today. I'm gonna move to Debbie. And I don't remember, let me see if I added here. Sorry about that. Debbie Parker. And I just ask you to unmute yourself. Oh, there's several Debbies, I'm sorry. So if you could send me a message saying which of the Debbies is, that would be great. I do apologize. I'm gonna go to actually Valentina. I have you on hold. And if the Debbie that wanted to speak could send me a message, that would be great. If not, we have Teresa waiting. Thank you, I apologize for that.
Hello.
Valentina?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, yes. I'm an
Teresa?
ESE.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an ESE teacher. I'm an ESE paraprofessional teacher's assistant at Park Trails Elementary. I just have a quick thing. Being with the ESE kids, you know, you have the and I've been doing this for 21 years at the same school. The kids, some of the kids in the classroom can't or won't keep their masks on. And they are physical, they are slobbery all over you. I just don't know what to do. I've logged it down about 400 or 500 times a day, putting the mask on, logging it down. That seems like my only job is just logging the kids, you know, not putting the mask on. It's just ridiculous. One of the kids' mom happens to be a a teacher at our school. So I know if she has to keep her kid home, then she has to leave. You know, she can't come in. I'm at my wit's end. I mean, the kids are very slobbery. They're very congested. They put everything in their mouths. The kid happens to be in first grade, so he's a really big kid. I just don't know what to do. If anybody has a suggestion, anything, I go to the principal. I've written to the union, to no avail.
Yeah, I don't know if all the peers are here or the teachers that are going maybe through the same thing could share with 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 her what could be the solution to that. I mean, it's something that I've been hearing also from many other teachers about the management of the masks from kids. And, you know, sometimes they don't do it on purpose. They just, you know, they're being kids, they're moving around, and some of their masks are not properly, you know, adjusted by their parents, and they go down, or, you know, this is the things that we have to go
This
through.
is like 400 or 500 times a day. I'm pulling, I mean, I have pictures of logs. That's all I do is log down paperwork. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I pull it down, I pick it up, he pulls it down. I pick it up, he pulls it down all day long. It's like, it's very frustrating. It's aggravating, and it just angers me, and for a lot of different reasons. And I get nothing from the principal, nothing from the teacher. They just, oh, it's so-and-so's son. You got to just turn a blind eye. I'm sorry. This is a killer disease out there. I have asthma. I talk to you right now. I'm all stuffed, you know, because of just, that's just the way I am. I have I had sinus surgery. I have asthma, but you know, I still go to work. But I just, do I have to stay in this classroom with this kid? Can I be moved? I ask. And they say, if we have to move you, it's not fair to anybody else that they have to go into the room. Like, what do I do? I don't want to work in a room with a couple of kids that don't keep their masks on. They should not be in school.
I'm going to ask again your peers here to help you to figure it out. But I know, Anna, if you want to address, yep, go ahead.
Yeah. So just Teresa, there is a mask policy that the school district made, and there are exceptions for students that cannot wear the mask or are not able to wear the mask. So unless it was through a doctor's note and implemented through an IEP, that there's a rationale that the child cannot wear a mask, it's based on some type of medical conditions. It was agreed upon just as the sole purpose of that they choose not to wear their mask, or they're not used to wearing their mask. They were supposed to have conversations where they need to stay home and work remote, because we were guaranteed that we would have the full.
I think this child has a doctor's note.
Well, Teresa, I mean, I don't want to discuss the logistics of that piece. I'm just going to give you the information that can help.
Okay.
You, of course, to go back and talk with the principal and see how you can move forward. But if they're trying to get them to use a mask, there's got to be a practice and a time frame to where you can work with the student to get him to understand, and it's a learned behavior of wearing the mask. It might be a little bit of a work in progress, but they did make some exceptions for reasons why students and employees that are not able to wear masks to have them allowed to come to work or to come into school and get an education. And we can also do things with ourselves to give us a little bit more safety of some extra PPE, better PPE that can help you out. Okay. So those are some of the tools and resources you can use, but triple check to see if there was a process, even though there was a doctor's note, that it's not just you hand the doctor's note and it automatically happens. There needed to be a process put forward, whether they are already in an IEP or a 504 need to be created, and that should help you.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I just wanted to jump a little bit here to, and I do apologize. Our former commissioner, Julie, is here, Fishman, and I know that I recognized her at the beginning. She has, I think that I find, now that I could call her Julie, which is better than call her Commissioner Fishman. But, it's that kind of public servant and advocacy person that you find in every place. Or I found her every place before and after as a commissioner. So I want to give her the 3 minutes to share her thoughts with us as well. Ms. Fishman, welcome to the meeting, and we will be delighted to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the courtesy. I'm going to keep it very brief because I want to hear what you all have to say. You're not here to hear me or the other elected officials. You're here to share your stories and find out what can be done. Just know that, as has been said with others, I am 100% behind you all. I'll help lead you all. I will do whatever you need me to do to make sure this information gets out and that your stories are heard and that the school board finally acts as they should and takes care of the issues that you all are discussing. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I want to move into Catherine. Again, last name is killing me. Tuzingent? Yes, close enough?
Close enough. It's okay.
Good. I have a lot of teachers here. I don't want to get bad grades.
Can't pronounce my name. It's all right. My name is Catherine Tuzian. I am a middle school science teacher with Broward County. I've been teaching now for 6 years, and this is actually my second career. I was a marine biologist before I became a teacher. And I transitioned from being a scientist to a teacher because I wanted to be able to work with kids. I love working with kids. I love teaching. I did receive ADA accommodations to work remotely because I have, unfortunately, I'm only 37, but I have multiple tier 1 risk factors and was told I had to come back on January 11th. My first day back was supposed to be Tuesday. That was until my 2-year-old daughter woke up with COVID symptoms. So I'm actually out on COVID protocol right now, waiting for my test result and her test result. And we've done everything right. Other than going to the grocery store and the pharmacy, we haven't been out socializing. We haven't been out at the beach. We've been doing everything we're supposed to because me and my daughter have health issues and we want to be safe. I love my students like they're my own children. I was telling them today that once you're my student, you're my kid forever. I love my job. I just want to having in the first place. I don't want to leave my husband a widower, and I don't want to leave my daughter without a mother. And they're asking me to either choose between my career or potentially my life, and I don't feel like that's right. Especially when 90% of other teachers are in the school building. I don't understand why we cannot be making accommodations to teachers that are most at risk. I'm willing to take 50 kids in my class if I need to, if they can let me remote teach. And the minute I'm fully vaccinated, I will be the first one in the parking lot to go back to work. But I don't understand why
Some issues with Catherine.
Catherine, you're frozen, but
as a teacher and a person than I have this week. I have kids begging me to stay home because they don't want me to get sick. And they're middle schoolers. They shouldn't have to think like that. But I just want to say thank you to Anna Fusco and the School Teachers Union. You guys have been fighting your butts off for us, and we all greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for the parent advocacy group fighting for us, because it feels like no one is fighting for us. So it feels good to know that somebody is. So thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine. We have a lot of people now in the waiting list. I wanted to move, so we are not disrupting our schedules as parents to put our kids to sleep. And I don't know, Anna is not sleeping, so she's fine. She's good. Okay, so we have next Dory White. And then I have on the bullpen, Maria Castronovo to be ready for the next intervention. Dory?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much, John, for organizing all of this, and for the two young men, Raymond and Rocco, who as young activists are beginning to take the next generation into activism for the good of others. It's awesome to see. I just want to speak about, kind of take us a step back for a minute. Right now, a lot of our conversation has been about the most medically necessary teachers on the front line. But this battle kind of began several months ago on a broader scale when almost 5,000 teachers asked for accommodations, not just because they themselves are ill, but also because we live with family members who are at very high risk, like myself. And we weren't even considered. The memo of understanding between the union and the school board was supposed to allow all of us to be considered. And from what I understand, Alan Strauss basically said no, without even reading an application on a tier 2, 3, or 4 person. So, I'm in the predicament where I myself am not as at high risk. I'm getting closer because I've been teaching for 33 years. And so my age is getting closer to the cutoff. But it's my family, my parents, my husband are all there. And I just want to bring up that group of people and advocate for us who we were all also forced to go back. Some of our principals used the power they were given by the district to override the accommodation, and they allowed us, because of the situation at our schools, to continue staying remote. But that all went out the window, and my understanding is the superintendent told the principals they had to close their overflow rooms, which kind of forced them to not be able to offer the accommodations for people. So the district on one hand told the principals, yes, do what you can for your school, you're in control. And then they said, but you have to close the overflow rooms, which is what empowers them to be able to offer the accommodations. So they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. And, I'm just gonna speak personally about the fact that our superintendent back in October refused to open schools until our positivity rate was down at 5%. We are now double that. And the amount of cases roughly back in October was around 3,000 on average. I'm a math teacher, so I speak in numbers all the time. We're now up around 15,000 cases a day. And our superintendent wants to not only open up the schools to more kids, and again, I understand the issue of the number of kids failing, but the pandemic is putting us in this predicament. And if nobody's healthy and if everybody's getting sick, we're just going to have more kids fail because there's going to be less of us available to teach. But why is he advocating for all this push? We got an email that now they want to start the student athletic programs for the public schools in Broward County. We're listening to the people that run our district constantly make changes that keep escalating the level of risk to teachers and to students, and then by default, because of the way a virus works, all of our families. And we're just going to be part of the statistics that keep growing in the state of Florida. And I'm going to end and turn it over now just by sharing something very personal. We lost a family member to COVID in my family. Nobody should have to have that pain. Nobody. And I don't understand why our district is just letting this happen. And to all of you who have spoken, who are in official government positions, city commissioners, vice mayors, I'm a Coral Springs resident. I appreciate what you're saying, but we need you to be louder, because dying is happening on your watch, according to the school board of Broward County. And there's going to be more, because when you open the doors to the schools to the level of students that they want to come in, you are opening the doors to COVID to invade the campuses of the Broward County school system. And that is not okay. Thank you for listening, everybody. And thank you all for what you're doing, parents. It's awesome to have you on our side.
John, I just need to comment. I've known Dory a very long time, way even before I even considered being a union president. So I go back with her as a colleague and as a fellow union steward in our schools. And I'll tell you something about Dory White that for her to get up and she's always very outspoken, very articulate. She writes incredible emails explaining things in detail, what's going on in her school and advocacy for her colleagues and her and oh my God, and her students too. Let's not skip a beat on that. And for her to get up and she doesn't miss anything. She doesn't want to skip out of school. She doesn't want to miss out of going to work, to miss out in teaching. And these are the stories that we were trying to resonate with Superintendent Runcie and Alan Strauss, that these are legitimate, real life illnesses and scenarios and situations that are happening that people, they legitimately do not want to die. And people, get mad at me. I've had board members call me and yell at me. How can you say that blood would be on our hands and we don't care if people were going to die? Be clear as a bell. Your actions show you don't care. People are telling you that they have these illnesses. They're telling you they've lost loved ones in their family from this COVID, and they just want to ignore. And they think by turning off their email, turning off their phone, turning off answering or getting back, they think that that's okay and acceptable. Lori Rich Levinson and Patty Good have not responded to anything that we put out to them. That is just insane. But yet, when they want to get elected and they want people to stand and say, come help to get me reelected, look at what I've done for you, and something so serious that we haven't seen in over 100 years that has affected not just our county, not just our state, not just our country, the whole world. And we're watching places around the world that have taken it so seriously and put people's lives over work and education that you can get back to it. You can recover it from it. Our very own Anne Frank is a living proof that you can be stuck in a hostage situation, and when you're done and you get out of it, you have your life and you can get back your education, you can get back what you missed in work, you can get back your finances. And our superintendent screams that we're going to lose our children to a lifetime of an education if they miss a couple months of face-to-face education, when look at where we are right now, everybody. We are talking remote and we're getting things done. We're making plans, we're learning stuff, you're meeting people, you're getting to understand situations. And to say that remote learning is a failure to our students is just deplorable when there's no facts to back it up. There's none to back it up. We're not going to take away that face-to-face is what is needed. But right now, when our COVID cases are running rampant, and to say that it's not getting spread in our schools is false information. And we want to keep you guys informed and understanding that we are doing everything we can to beg for the vaccine to be part of our teachers and our support staff. That has always been. But people, I want you to remember the point that we're also here for is that we have some of our most vulnerable, ill educators and support staff that need to continue to stay safe in the surroundings of their own home and not out and about with groups and hearing that our students and some of our own colleagues that can't wear a mask or won't wear a mask and possibly expose them to COVID. So we're asking you guys to not forget that point and to make sure that you understand why we are also speaking here. The vaccine is very well known that we're all asking for it. BTU has written a letter, our state organization has written a letter, our national organization has written a letter, our elected officials have written a letter. I'm sure our superintendent has written a letter of the vaccine, but they're missing the point. We need people to stay remote that are so in fear because of their illness that if they contract COVID that they can die. Because I could tell you right now, the people that are in and they start dying, that's a whole different type of advocacy what Anna Fusco and the Broward Teachers Union will do with the families to help with their loved ones, that they lost a teacher or support staff because our superintendent and our chiefs were just so belligerent in being dismissive of what is real.
Thank you, Anna. Now I want to give the mic to another ally that has been everywhere. I see her when we used to be in person in every place where there was advocacy. So in a voice for our teachers and our community and our youth, I'm going to give the mic to Jennifer Gottlieb. And I'm sorry, again, I'm really bad with names, so I hope I'm doing it right. To share with us 2 minutes of her thoughts about what's happening.
Hi, John, and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for bringing attention to this. For those of you who don't know, I have the honor and privilege of working for Anna Fusco at the Broward Teachers Union. And since coming on board there, it's really been a labor of love. And you can see President Fusco, it's almost 8:30 at night and she's still sitting at her desk in the office. This fight though, we fight battles every day. This fight has been very personal and one of the most difficult, I think, because you hear these stories and you hear just horrible, horrible things that people are suffering through every day. And it doesn't have to be this way. We are working very hard, and one of the roles that I've taken on with the Broward Teachers Union is working with our local elected officials. And as President Fusco said, you know, we've had some really amazing leaders sign on with us. We've had members of our congressional delegation stand in support with us. Senator Gary Farmer, Senator Lauren Book responded within 30 seconds to me asking her, will you stand with teachers, sign on to our open letter? Many members of our Broward legislative delegation. We have Mayor Mike Ryan, who sent out a letter tonight to everybody in the Broward League of Cities, and we've been getting emails back from elected officials from all over the county. So people know that the school district is on the wrong side of this issue. The superintendent is on the wrong side of this issue. As a former school board member, I can't imagine forcing our families, our students, our employees, our teachers to deal with this. So we're all fighting very hard. I don't know if this has been brought up, but I know we've got a petition that we're asking people to sign, and I can put it in the chat, protectourteachers.net, and I will type it on in there. So we're collecting names. Please sign on to our petition, because really, without, I don't know how many parents or how many teachers or who is on this call, but we need everybody's support. This is not something, you know, we can do alone. And I'm asking every elected official in Broward County to sign on to our letter. I will also put my email in the chat. It's jgottlieb@BTU Online. If we can get your support, stand with us, stand with the teachers. These are our frontline workers. Our governor doesn't even want to get them the vaccine. We're fighting for that, but we're fighting to protect our medically needy employees that are working in really difficult situations. And my heart goes out to every teacher, and everything that you're doing, you know, you're doing God's work. You really are. And thank you all so much. I appreciate, John, you doing this. I know you had another meeting also. And I think just keep the communication going, because you're doing a great job and you've definitely got a great following here with all these people. So thank you.
Thank you. That means a team effort. Nancy, Lindsay, and the rest of the people who have been since the beginning. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you for your words, Jennifer. Thank you for your advocacy. Don't lower your hand. We're gonna go through all the hands. I promise. If you have to log off, you log off. You have to go back to what you have to do. We understand that. I have next Maria Castranovo. So Maria, I know you were not able to raise your hand, so I have to look for you. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to unmute you, okay? Maria. And then after that, I have Valentina. So you could be on hold. Let's see. Sorry. Here you go. You're on mute. Here you go. You can unmute yourself now.
Is that good? Thank you. First, thank you, John. Anna, I can't thank you enough for always being there for me and all the teachers at my school at Maplewood. Miss White, my son had her last year. She is a phenomenal teacher, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And he still wishes he was in your class right now. I am a high-risk teacher. I'm a tier 1. So is a couple of my other teachers and colleagues. 3 were told they could stay home. I was told, I expect you there on January 11th. I did show up. Teachers weren't wearing masks. Students weren't wearing masks. They were congregating in the halls. I don't know why we have the little dots, because nobody was keeping space. Teachers were not wearing, like I said, teachers wearing no masks. I ended up finding out, I came in contact with somebody with COVID.
Un poquito mejor.
And I couldn't, I have to stay home now because I tested negative, but I still have to stay home to be quarantined for 14 days. So I will be returning to work. But since Monday, we've had 2 cases where 2 classrooms had to be quarantined. So if a class has to be quarantined, how close are they is my question in the classroom. And they weren't just younger kids. So I really, we need to just stop this, wait till we get our vaccine. All those families, I have so many friends that have families that they're the primary caregiver that couldn't get the time. And they had to go to work and they couldn't see their family. So I just wanted to share all that, and I want to thank everyone for what they're doing. And we need to really care about, because now our kids are getting it. And that's just awful, and they're not immune to it. So, and we have pre-K kids. We don't want any of these kids to die. Thank you.
I think that will be devastating. Hopefully nobody has to go through that. That will be another ball game. Valentina Attar, you're next.
Yes, okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello. My name is Valentina. I teach chemistry at Plantation High School. And I was also one of the teachers deemed high risk, and the ADA accommodation was not extended past the 11th. I've had quite a few medical conditions, and I've had to be on a respirator, not once, but 3 times. And it's not a place that anybody wants to be. Of course, we had to turn in all the paperwork to get that accommodation. And of course, we're being forced to go back. I had to make the tough decision, but my life was more valuable as much as I love my students. My children need me. I have 4 kids and my husband. I cannot take that risk. My question to you is, Anna, you've done a phenomenal job. I have emailed all the school board members. I have personally emailed Mr. Runcie, not once. I think I try and email him every other day. No response from him. And the fact that the district forced the principals to even make that decision to extend the ADA accommodation in the first place was horrific. And they talk about caring about the students. In my case, I teach IB chemistry students that I've been preparing for 2 years. And guess what? I've been forced to take a leave. And so my students are going to be held by someone who doesn't even teach the subject. No one even told the students, so the kids have no idea. I'm the one who had to tell them. I was heartbroken, and so were they. I had to tell them that the district refused to extend the accommodation for the most vulnerable teachers. And I'm going to have to leave you at the 23rd hour. So when Runcie talks about all the nonsense that he cares about the students, they don't care. Because as I speak, my daughter doesn't have a geometry teacher because he had to also take a leave. So how can we even be thinking about our students when they don't have a teacher? And we're doing all this for 12 students coming back. I have 160. and 12 are coming back. They could have easily have made that accommodation. And this is horrific. Every school is going through the same thing. We want to know who were the 600 teachers that were granted the extension, because it seems like that's just a magical number. It certainly wasn't in the high school. So, I mean, Mr. Runcie, I think he has a lot of explaining to do. Because I don't know, I mean, the lies, the hypocrisy, we're sick of it. He comes and says one thing and says something that is completely different. And no teacher has to go through this because we're doing the best we can. And we all know we're not doing it for the money. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, I want to respond to that. Not only did myself, our strategic analyst, Jill Herring, our attorney, Mark Richard, who has had an incredible relationship with Robert Runcie, also our national secretary treasurer of our American Federation of Teachers, Fedra Ingram, who goes way back with Superintendent Runcie. We asked for the list of the 1,600 and we asked for the list of the 600, and he actually said he would give it. And then he went radio silence and ignored text messages and phone calls from all of us. So I'm not sure why he chose to do that or why he chose to say I'll do it and didn't do it. But I'm starting to see a pattern that that's what they seem to do best. They'll say stuff to basically appease you and then not follow through. And that's not acceptable. As teachers, we don't do that for our students. We don't do that with our colleagues. It's not accepted. And if our teachers did that in the professional environment and acted like that, there would be some, corrective action taken on them. And I saw someone wrote in the chat, and I really have to say it out loud because not everybody gets an opportunity to read. There's over a couple hundred comments. What is this teaching our youth on how to treat our most needy people right now with health and illnesses that they have? And to know that there is something that could really be done to take care of them and they're just turning a blind eye. I could tell you right now, as a career educator, I've been teaching for decades, I have never taught my students to turn their backs on anybody. You help out, you figure it out. And I certainly did not raise my son, as everybody knows, that has become a humanitarian himself. He's a firefighter, medic. And so, that is how I was raised and how I've taught my son and my students. And I know that's what our teachers work hard every day to, and our very leaders that are running our school district. And this is what they're doing is deplorable.
I don't even know what else to say. We've been listening to so many stories that this is just unacceptable. I just sent a tweet out inviting the superintendent and all the school board members after this meeting of more than 400 community members to sit down and listen to us. It is the best way to fix this and to come out straightforward to our eyes and to our faces and tell us the truth. And if the truth is 3 feet, and if the truth is we're gonna go back into normal because we need the money, let's figure it out as a community, not unilaterally, not saying something in public and saying something in private. We need to come as a community and fix this for the sake of our students, of our teachers, our parents, and our students. So I completely hear you, Anna. I think that this just got out of proportions, and there's a pattern that we could follow now with the robocall, calling us misleading and misinforming people. I mean, I didn't get misinformed. I got an email that said we will be relaxing social distancing. I had a conversation with a school official that said, CDC guidelines are only that, right? the guidelines. This is not something that we made up. And I have to say it on record, I have a relationship with the superintendent. I work for him personally. I work for the superintendent. I cannot understand what is going on at the school board at this point. This is inhumane. This is not what we should be doing with the most important individuals in our community, our teachers, hands down. And everyone understood that when we went online, and then you needed to teach, become the teacher of your son or your daughter or your multiple kids. They are heroes in our community. They should be treated like that, like heroes. Sorry, got a little emotional. Amy Dessel. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I have Rachel Starr. I apologize. And then I have next Amy Dessel. So Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, John, for giving me some time. And thanks, Anna. And thanks all of you for everything. I am very overwhelmed hearing everyone's story, because obviously we all have different stories and they're all for the same cause. And it's like really powerful to know that we're all kind of in this together. So I just wanted to kind of share my story real quick. I'm in a situation that's a little bit different, but in the same respect, I'm still going through the same things. And I just wanted to comment on the fact that, as an educator, I'm in my 9th year teaching, and I literally could never think of doing anything other than teaching for, any type of full-time job. And it really does concern me, the level of education that the amount of learning that the students just aren't getting, at home without us. And the difference between what a classroom does for them versus being at home, and that interactiveness between their peers and their teachers, et cetera, through teams. And I am one that definitely, I've been home on an accommodation, and I am absolutely not comfortable going back into the classroom. And I'm being told that, I have about half of my students in most of my classes who are planning to come back to the classroom, and they're planning to come back because they're being told that they have to because they failed a class last quarter. And we all know that going to a classroom is absolutely not going to guarantee them any kind of a passing grade. And I think that it's absolutely insane for us to even pretend on any level that, a magic wand is going to be, waved in our classroom, and they're automatically just going to remember everything that they forgot since last March. And they're just automatically now going to do so much better now, probably without the teacher that they love and respect that they've gotten to know all year, because probably we're not going to be there because of a leave or for other reasons. And I just think that it's really unfair that the board and whoever is making these decisions, whether it's Alan Strauss or Robert Runcie or all these, whatever, the federal government, whoever is actually making these decisions and putting that pressure on our principals and the school board to tell us what we have to do. I just think it's absolutely insane and ridiculous. And I think that I just want to say that, I am one of those teachers that I don't understand a schedule when it comes to teaching, whether I'm in the classroom or at home. I mean, I work all hours, right? We don't turn our phones off. Our email doesn't stop. If my kid texts me, I'm going to text them back. I use Remind. I have my parents on Remind. I'm going to answer them. This was a little bit harder. I had to get a Google Voice number and actually, connect to these parents via my own personal number, but not my personal, but a Google number, and I made that happen. And I called my parents over and over and over again and telling them listen, Mom, we have all these resources to help your kids, let's get that done. And they say, yes, I'm on board. Thank you so much. And then nothing changes, right? So I don't understand on so many levels, why are we the magic, fairy godmothers that are just going to come in and make everything better? Us 1,600 or 600, I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly the number of teachers that were allowed to stay home out of the 5,000 that asked. Only a very small amount of us were actually allowed to. And we've been doing everything in our power to make sure that we're giving our kids the education they deserve. And I also feel like my students are my kids, and I don't have children, so it's easy for me to do that. My patience is different from others probably. I just want to make sure that we all know and understand that, like, at the end of the day, our students' education and their well-being is the most important thing. And we as educators shouldn't be forced to be in the classroom in these conditions. I just can't even, I'm literally, I had to walk away a few times to like literally wipe my face because I feel for you guys and this is horrible. I'm taking my days and I'm going to take a leave if my principal doesn't let me stay home, because I'm not going to go back to the classroom until I have my vaccine. And I've sent an email to Runcie and the school board members, and I've told them, if you can get me a vaccine, I'm going back to the school, period, point blank. But the kids are not following the rules. The teachers are not following the rules. Even my own administration are not following the rules. And I'm not, you know, it bothers me to the extent that I'm going to now take my own sick time and possibly have no job because of it. That's just where I'm going, you know? So again, guys, thank you for being part of this. Thank you for helping, you know, and just at least hearing us, and knowing that I'm not alone makes me feel a whole lot better about doing and saying what I do. And, you know, every day is a new battle. So that's it. Thanks again. I hope everyone stays safe and well.
Thank you, Rachel. John, can I just share something with you real quick? Our teachers are not just when they go back into the physical classroom, and they're not just teaching, they're also been tasked that they have to be the cleaner. And by the way, some of them are not even been afforded the supplies to clean. They're figuring out what chemicals they can bring in themselves in a spray bottle. And if they ask for the gloves or they ask for the wipes, that they have to wait. I just got an email that I read that the principal keeps asking, what are you doing with the supplies that I've given you? I mean, they're cleaning with it. And the reason that being is that our district has not hired extra custodial staff to take on that extra cleaning. Donna Corn said it in a board meeting, and she said it well. You know, ask the question, what are we doing to get more custodians? Because it's like her having herself her own cleaning lady in her home, that you do my basic everyday cleaning, and now something comes about that I need to do that extra cleaning. And then I expect you to get all that extra cleaning done in the same time frame with the same amount of, you know, money. And they know that they weren't going to hire extra custodians, and they've expected the teachers to clean in between the classes and so forth. And that's with our specials teachers in elementary. That's with our teachers in our middle and high school, when they're now walking around the school and going in and out of the classrooms, because they haven't hired extra custodians. And I also want to share with you some of the email responses I've seen for the Office of the Superintendent. It says, this is to acknowledge receipt of your email in the Office of the Superintendent. By way of this message, your concerns are being forwarded to the Office of Human Resources and Equity for the review and follow-up. When our teachers and our support staff are clearly told that there's no need to contact the EEO anymore, you have been granted an accommodation. And now Alan Strauss stripped that from them. They can no longer do anything. I'm not quite sure why they're doing this circle around with our teachers and our support staff. And I wish I can read you the email that this particular teacher sent. She was illness free from, you know, of congestion and sinuses and not able to breathe right. And as I told everybody, that our people are going back into schools where the working conditions of poor air quality are there. She went back into her building, and now this is what she said. I can't breathe. I'm having a hard time breathing. I'm having palpitations. I know it's because of I'm back on my inhaler medications. And she's asking, what can you do to help me? And that is his response back. When you call EEO, they will tell you, we're basically done. There's no more we can do. We were told by our HR chief, Alan Strauss, you're done. There's no more to do. But yet they reach out to the superintendent, and this is the answer that they give. So this is why we're trying to tell you that our teachers are in such turmoil, and they're thrown out like they're just disposable, and it's no more that can be done for them. So now they're trying to figure out what they can do to make sure that they could take care of themselves. And as you can hear from our teachers, they want to be there for their students. And I know as the parents are on here, that's why you're here, because you want to, you really want to help us out, and I appreciate it. But I need to share things as I'm hearing stories and why our teachers are so stressed and upset and hurt and beside themselves to hear that people have to continue to turn off their cameras, walk away because they can't contain their emotions because they're sad and they're crying is it just really makes me upset.
Thank you, Anna. Now I have Amy DeSalle, and I know that we have 5 more people on the waiting list. So let's try to stick to our 3 minutes, and so we could finish and listen to all these stories. Amy?
Hi, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody. I don't think as an educator for over 2 decades, I've ever felt so appreciated and loved, which is ironic because of everything that's going on. So thank you to the union, to the other teachers, to elected officials, to all the stakeholders, because anytime I feel sad, I think I'm going to re-listen to this. I've been with Broward County Public Schools for over 2 decades, first as a teacher and now as a medical magnet coordinator. Very, very happy. But I'm on many committees, and I am an alumni of Broward County Public Schools, from Nob Hill to Bear to Piper, then going to FAU, getting my master's, and back in the system. And so I receive probably about 50 emails or texts a day. People think that I know what's going on, which normally I'm grateful I do. However, I've been hearing, why are some schools allowing their teachers to leave on early release with the children and on professional development with the children, while others are not? Now, I don't even take a lunch break. So I'm just, the equitable part is what I don't know if what I'm hearing, I don't want to say it's an untruth or true, but who's making the decisions where some schools are allowed to work face-to-face with teams, where other schools have to, go back to not using the teams and rotate around the classroom where there's less than 6 feet away. And then today was a PSD day. Now, mind you, I was at school till 6 anyway, so it didn't affect me. But I'm hearing other people saying, I can't leave with the kids. I'm stressed. And my question is where's this coming from? Because up till December, our MOU, or however it was stated or was said, that if no kids are there, you leave, you can plan at home. And when people call me and ask me, I tell them, I said, I don't know the answer. I don't even know the rule. And so not only that, but when it comes to the students, I mean, they're a huge concern. And if it's a federal law that there has to be a balanced and equitable education from one school to another. And it's almost an injustice that one school may have it done one way and they're allowed to use teams and so forth, and then another school does it a different way. And these are just some of the things that have been brought to my attention, where normally I could make a phone call and get a response, or be able to look something up for somebody and assist. But I would really like those questions to be answered, and not in a disrespectful way. Knowledge is power, and we need to know why the equitable and balance is not there for this, like from school to school. And that impacts students and teachers. And I just also want to say to all those teachers, you know, I mean, with going in and knowing that you're going in sick, you need a cape. And, you know, to Anna and to all the BTU people, you guys seriously are superstars, and thank you everybody for all the support.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for sharing.
But John,
Now,
I
yes.
just mentioned that in Broward County Public Schools, every school has principal autonomy, which is something that we have talked about over and over again, that it would show under the umbrella that everybody's on the Broward County Public Schools, that there would be more consistency and equity throughout the schools. And that's why there are such differences, because of the principal autonomy. And everybody takes care of their schools, which I get under circumstances they need to, but I do think they need to be governed a little bit better, so there could be more equity.
Strategically, almost.
Well,
where, and I agree with you, Anna, like where I got phone calls from people crying that they couldn't leave with the kids, and they're having meetings face to face as well as on Teams. Like they're bringing their computers to a meeting, and I'm hearing all this, and they're like, you know, do you know anything? What do you think? And I'm like, you know what? There's a meeting tonight, and I promise you, I'm going to bring it up because I know Anna will find the answers to this.
Well, and Amy, I appreciate you, but we got to cut a little bit because there's other people waiting. I just wanted to give a rationale to the parents of that, you know, and if any of the parents that have moved from school to school, and you might see a difference in it, the principals do have that autonomy, and it sometimes it works and most times it doesn't, because there's really not a strong governance of what they do in their schools, and that's why there's no consistency. And the rationale of why teachers, you know, asked if at the end of the day, when all students are said and done gone, that they can take their, you know, their planning time and their, you know, time that they're not with students, that they can, you know, travel back home. The district has pulled that back from us because they just wanted to. And there's really no need to, because our teachers work day and night, they work weekends, they work way outside of contract hours. And to continually insinuate that, you know, if students leave at 2 and then all of our kids are gone and there's no more supervision needed, that our teachers can graciously get into their vehicles so they can, you know, take the time to get home and get themselves where they need to take their clothes off and put it in the wash and get themselves showered so they can get refreshed and take away some of the anxiety and the stress that they have of working all day and being in an environment of possibly contracting COVID. We didn't feel was too much to ask. And we do have more principals granting it than others, but unfortunately some of our higher district management had just become malicious and said, you know, take it away. And, you know, we really wish that they would understand that all of the hours and all of the time that our teachers put forth to get ready for remote learning when our country was locked down, that how quickly they forget. So I just wanted to give that a mention, that it's not teachers asking to get out of working. They just want to be able to get out of the environment, let the custodial staff get in there. They're already understaffed to take care of the sanitizing, get home, get clean, and then they continue to work. Our teachers work day and night, and that is a fact.
Thank you, Anna. And we're receiving messages that you guys have to go because your kids are getting ready to go to sleep, or you have to get ready for tomorrow. So we do apologize. We're trying to keep it as fast and brief as possible. We have 4 more people on queue. That's it. We're going to cut it until there because it's 9 o'clock. We want to be respectful of everyone's time, especially our teachers. They have to go back tomorrow early in the morning to do their work. So we want to respect that as well. And for the parents like me, they have to wake up early before their kids wake up to do our work and then get to online school. Next, we have Rachel A. So if you could state your name and what you do, and then your testimony. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel. I'm a speech pathologist at a high school in the district. And I just wanted to share with you my story. So I actually got COVID in June, and I'm hearing a lot about like, we're all scared to die of this. This is a legitimate fear. But the COVID is not a binary reaction. It's not you live or you die. Those that don't necessarily always recover. So before asking for accommodations or before I had no autoimmune issues, after getting COVID, I am part of the long hauler group now. The people that get COVID are part of this long hauler group that have side effects for months and months. So I'm 6 months out, spent thousands of dollars on co-pays to all these doctor's appointments, finding out what's wrong with me, all these testing, all these imaging. They can't find anything yet. I'm not able to breathe. I'm super fatigued all the time. My actual virus was nothing. I was asymptomatic. I lost my taste and smell, but this is going to be a logistical nightmare for the people. Now that we're having 20,000 cases, we're going to get more and more teachers that do survive, but they're not recovered. They're taking off more work. They're sick all the time. Their quality of life has diminished. So although you survive, you don't always recover. We're also putting strain on the teachers that we have, having teachers leave left and right. So what's happening is they're not refilling those positions because who wants to fill them right now? So they're just asking the teachers that are currently there to take on another class. So you have teachers in high school taking 8 classes. They're burnt out. I don't know how else to say it other than a logistical nightmare, that COVID is going to affect every aspect of schooling. And if we are able to do our jobs appropriately at home, I know as a speech pathologist, I saw more kids virtually than I did in person between calling the teachers. Hey, can you send this kid to speech? Can you send this kid? Took too much time. I call these kids, they pop right up. So if you are able to efficiently do your job at home, we should be allowed to. And I was back for 3 days. I was able to get the vaccine as a healthcare worker. My license is with the health department. I got it 15 days ago and I had a fever of 102 yesterday. So I don't know if that's COVID related. I don't know if that is the vaccine. Have I been exposed again? Because my coworkers aren't doing the right thing. They're wearing their mask below their nose. They're not wearing their mask in common areas. I can't trust my coworkers. It's not the students I'm worried about. They know how to follow directions for the most part. It's my coworkers that scare me the most. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we do have people that aren't recovering and we should be mindful of that moving forward.
Definitely. Thank you for bringing that point. I think we have a couple of those testimonials in our last meeting, but thank you, Rachel, for sharing that, and definitely have that in mind for your co-workers at schools. We're going to close again this. I have, so you guys know the order, Tracy, Dr. Megan, Jody, Lynette, and Robert. And that's how we're going to close tonight. And we appreciate everyone for coming today. We have, as per Nancy Fry, which is our champion here on the Zoom, trying to keep getting people in, more than 500 registrations. Is that correct, Nancy?
Yes, well over, I was 524 at my last check because of people entering and leaving. The total number thus far has been over 500 people have attended this meeting tonight.
And so just to that, Anna, and the rest of people who have been, Lindsay, and the rest of people who have been here supporting and sharing, Ms. Nolan, Rod, and Jessica, the rest of the people, I'm missing names, I don't want to miss names, Tracy, everyone here. We had 100 people, 100 short last meeting. And then we rallied, we organized, we got together. We have 500 people today. So it is possible. It is possible to organize. It is possible to get our word out there. And I believe we're going to hear from the superintendent, and we're going to hear from the board. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear from them in the next 24 to 48 hours. They're going to come to agreement to talk to us. I'm pretty sure.
You know what, John, I have no doubt that that we're going to hear from them. It's what we're going to hear from them is what concerns me. They spent more time advocating $23 million of your and mine and everybody's tax dollar money to buy these type of cameras to hook onto their laptops to teach remote. And then they were so quick to say that remote's not working or take teachers away from being able to work remote to truly make the remote piece happen. And they literally go back and look at board meetings, go listen to town halls of the scream and the advocating to get these cameras pushed out there and to talk about just a moment of people's health and safety has become radio silence. To me, that is very disheartening.
All right, please do not lower your hand on this Zoom because then I lose your order. So Tracy, you were next. You lower like a teacher, you lower your hand. Don't lower your hand. All right, Tracy, so you next. I'm gonna unmute you, and then we have Dr. Megan. Please, Dr. Megan, do not lower your hand until I lower it from the system. Thank you. Tracy, you next.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for hosting this. I'm Tracy Merlin. I've been a teacher in Broward County Schools for going on 21 years. I'm really so proud of our profession for rallying together, because that is something that we don't always have the time to do. We may have very many like-minded people, but unfortunately, we're so busy in our classrooms, in our families, in our little world, that we don't always have the opportunity to have a collective group like this. And I welcome that. Most of us have been on an airplane before COVID, and you know that when they go over the oxygen masks that are going to fall from overhead, you're supposed to put it on yourself and then your child. Broward County has forgotten to give us oxygen masks. Teachers are suffocating. And unfortunately, what we're seeing right now is that we have two different situations that we're dealing with. ADA approved people who are getting the runaround and told that they have to come back and nobody's being accountable on the end of the county. And number two, the fact that we have a governor who has moved teachers around from being essential workers to being unessential workers. He just keeps moving us around on the paper like we are arranging seating at a wedding. There's a lot of work to do in Broward County right now, but just like Anna said, when we have elected leaders in place that don't particularly care about educators, it falls on deaf ears. So while I commend the enthusiasm, the passion, the frustration that we are all feeling, having a meeting is not enough. There is so much more to do. And I caution us as a profession to not be hypocritical, because if people are asking for social distancing and staying to be able to work from home, just keep that in mind as you organize the things to demonstrate our frustration. That would be something that I share with everyone. My suggestion is that just like this meeting has amplified since the last meeting exponentially, this needs to keep happening. But this should have happened before. And I'm not frustrated with anyone here. Obviously, this is situational. At this point, there are some real huge misnomers about the education community. They think we're lazy and they think we don't want to work. So both of those things need to be addressed, because as we have all testified on this meeting and said, we are working harder than we've ever worked in our lives. It never stops. Working harder is not going to get us solutions. So I encourage everybody, get more people involved, not only sign that petition that Ms. Gottlieb talked about, and what an advocate for educators, as so many people in the community and elected officials were on here. It's not enough for you just to see them in a meeting. You have to form relationships with the people who are going to make these positions in power. And we have to make serious change. Because as I mentioned last time we met, I don't think there's a contingency plan. I haven't heard one thing about a contingency plan. And I appreciate some of the educators talking about what is going to happen afterward, because that hasn't been addressed. And this was the same gripe that I expressed on Monday. Broward is a last minute Band-Aid, last moment opportunity all the time. Things need to be done proactively instead of reactively. Thank you. I yield my time.
We're all reading about this and hearing all these hearings, and we became experts on dealing our time to the rest of the people. I completely hear you, Tracy, and we will get this to the next level. There is also elections coming up. There is, people's going to be accountable for what's happening, because this is unacceptable. I think we are asking our superintendent and our school board to raise their voice, and they definitely need to get louder and go into Tallahassee and talk to these elected officials, and also our elected officials. We have just one today. What about having them all to listen to us? They will see how important is this. And of course, signing the petition and making sure that you call in tonight your elected official tomorrow and say, I was in this meeting. What are you doing to get vaccinations for our teachers? What is that you are doing? And don't tell me the letter. The letter is good. What are you doing? Are you bringing this to the floor? Are you calling an a special session or an item on the floor in Tallahassee? Those are the actions that we need. So thank you, Tracy. And this flash mob, it's hopefully going to be social distance, physical distance. Jody Culp, I have next. Jody?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was trying to unmute. Mine isn't going to be as eloquent as everybody else's because unfortunately I have a lot to say, so I'm just going to hit bullet points. I've been a teacher for 22 years. I love my students. I love what I do. I have 2 tier 1s and 2 other tiers from the CDC list. My 91-year-old grandmother has dementia. She lives with me and I'm her only caregiver. Over the summer, the county said one thing, then they changed their mind. They waited to the last minute to let us know, and then they changed the rules. So after they changed them, we had to scramble to get the new paperwork together, and I had to use sick time for that. Then once that was settled and they said we had to come back, I applied for MLA. That was refused because even though my doctor said absolutely no way with your health issues, because it said COVID on it, I was refused. So now I'm waiting on a regular leave and I'm out of sick time and I'm waiting. But what kills me is that I have 10 of my babies in school out of 140 plus students. And teachers and students are not required to get testing, which I mean, they should. And we should definitely be top priority on the vaccine. And then Runcie basically said, come back or quit. And when he said that, my heart broke and I realized how little we actually meant to the school board and to the people that we love, which is our families, our community. And they're basically playing a political game with the lives of my babies, my students, I mean, me, my family, and it's just not right.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you for sharing again. Now, next we have Lynette Rodríguez, que llevo toda la noche queriendo hablar español. Y después al final voy a hablar en español porque creo que nuestros familiares, nuestros estudiantes, nuestros profesores que no están tal vez acá, que porque les da miedo entrar a reuniones donde no pueden hablar su idioma, vamos a tener una reunión para padres latinos, para personas que quieran hablar esto en nuestro idioma, porque sé de muchas personas en mi escuela, en Sunrise Elementary, aquí en Sunrise, todos tenemos un grupo, un chat de latinos, de padres latinos, en donde estamos hablando de todo lo que pasa. Súper importante que nuestra comunidad inmigrante esté acá. Y quisiera hablar portugués o criol para poder traer a millones de personas aquí a la reunión, porque sé que hay muchos padres. 40% of our community in our public schools is Hispanic. 40% of the students in our public school system is Latino. And so we need to also bring a community, Ana. I'm sorry, you will have to practice your Spanish. I know you do, but we have to have a meeting for Latino parents because they are also important. I had conversations this weekend and after the weekend with my Latino parents. They don't know what is going on. They didn't know there was change of the schedules on Monday, that on Wednesday they need a new teacher, that their teachers are not going to be there. What do you mean? What, they're not going to be on the computer, they're going to be on the computer. But para los que hablan español, vamos a tener algo en español seguro, se los prometo. I'm sorry, my Colombian came in.
Oh, John, I have to tell you that they forget to put out messages in the other languages that a lot of our parents speak. But I have to be honest with you, they didn't tell anybody who spoke English, Spanish, Creole, or anything of what you just said about the changes and so forth. You know why? Because they're doing stuff starting today, which I was told that the plan was done and completed last Thursday. And when you heard from our teachers, they still don't know what is going on. Everything is up in the air. Just like when we first started with opening of schools, of figuring out, was it going to be hybrid? Was it going to be 2 days on, 1 day off? Was it going to be 5 days? Was it going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday? And they were trying to figure it all out, and they couldn't come up with a plan. It's exactly what's happening all over again. And our educators and our students and our parents, you know, they're the ones that are out there saying, what in the world is going on? While our leaders are saying, well, what do you mean what's going on? Didn't you look at the survey? Didn't you read our message? Did you not see our 6-minute video? Did you not look at Beacon, or do you not watch our 9-hour board meetings? I mean, that's how they feel that they're taking care of business, by that type of way of bringing it out, instead of really just connecting to the teacher, so the teacher and the admin can connect with the parent. And that's how it always was when I was in the classroom, and that's how it was when my son was in school. So I'm not sure what has happened or where this connection is gone, but I guess they feel that they don't owe people to give an understanding and explanation of really what's going on. And the only way that that's going to change is that we really need the parents to stand up and stand strong and stand loud. And I, John, we could talk about this tomorrow, planning for a forum like this for our Latinx community, and we can make sure that we get it out there in Spanish. It's easy.
And just one last thing before we give the mic or yield the floor to Lynette. Tú eres la culpable, Lynette, por tu apellido. That I was so offended, to be completely transparent here, when I saw the video this weekend and there was no captions, not in Spanish, like, okay, in Spanish you forgot, maybe, whatever, Portuguese or Creole, which is part of the fabric of our community. They're all part of the community. A multi-million-dollar company organization, which is the Broward County Public Schools, don't have a little budget to throw some captions with Spanish and Creole or Spanish or Portuguese. I mean, really, it takes $1,000 to do that. I could help you, superintendent, if you're watching, or the school board members, when you watch, I could help you to translate to Spanish anytime. And I know thousands of people at the school board, because I work there, that know how to translate better than me, for free. They will do it for free. Lynette, tú eres la culpable that we went sidetracked, but the mic is yours.
Thank you for allowing me to be here and express myself. I was actually on the news. I don't know if you saw it on Telemundo, Omega. I spoke in behalf of the Spanish teachers in reference to what is actually going on. First of all, let me tell you my little story really quick. I'm a survivor. I feel as a survivor. I have 2 sisters that died when I was 10 years old. That's 40 years ago. And I have a sister that just had a liver transplant. So I feel like I'm a survivor. And then when I'm being told, like, you have to go to work or else you lose your job, when this is my passion, my job. And I'm sorry I get emotional, but this is who I am. I love my kids. This is what I'm passionate about. This is all I want to do in my life. I probably do not retire after 30 years. I probably get old if Wilson disease is my disease. Doesn't kill me, but this is an autosomatic inherited disease, and it's very rare. It is very dangerous. Of course, I have my medications and I am in control, but if I do not take care of it, you know, I can be in the position of my sister. She got a liver transplant just because she was a Wilson disease patient, so she jumped in the list and was lucky enough to have it. And I'm sorry I get too passionate, but it's just because there's many things that we don't say. There's many things that people don't even think about us, like myself. I used to, not right now with the pandemic, I used to work out in the morning, 3 o'clock a.m. I get up to be at the gym at 4 to go to work. After the gym, I work out again to release my stress. And after that, I walk with my neighbors. That was my story before the pandemic. With the pandemic, I live in my home by myself. So I do not interact with anybody. So when asked to go back to work, I said, finally, I'm going to interact with people and let me do this. But at the same time, scared to death. Scared to death because I have not family member, thank God, but I have a lot of friends in Pennsylvania, all over the world that actually died. Friends that grew up with me in Puerto Rico. And it scared me to death to be exposed to that. And from jumping to another topic, I just want to let you know that one thing that I dislike so much about the school board is that as a teacher, January the 4th, I said, well, we're coming back, so let me just buy a thermostat to check my kids' temperature. So I said, okay, just to keep my kids safe, because they don't have this protocol here. And they, for what I know, schools hand out thermometers, thermostats to the kids to check the temperature. So I got mine, check my kids before they go into the classroom to make sure, because if somebody has it high, I want to make sure I send it to the clinic and they make the contacts home. So no, I made the mistake to ask permission after I started checking, right? And they said, no, because that is not in place by the school board. So you cannot be doing that. You cannot single the students. So that means I cannot keep myself safe and my own students in my classroom that are in the classroom, because if I keep them safe, that keeps others safe. Because if somebody has the temperature, that's a sign, not that they have the corona, but you understand what I'm saying? We had to have the control. So I did that, and no, you cannot do it because it's not implemented by the county, la. So I stopped doing it, but I said, okay, I bought this with my money, with my pocket, to care for my students and to make sure I myself are safe, like the young lady said before. I wrote her name because I like her speaking, Tracy Martin, the way she said before that if, we have to put our own mask in the airplane before, right? We got to be safe in order to protect those around us. So, I want to be safe because of my disease, and I don't want to spread it in there. If something is to be caught, I want to make sure that my kids are not exposed to that, which is my students. And it is very sad, many things that are going on. One thing I wanted to say, and I want to close to give the opportunity to the other people, is that what I heard from Ronci when he said we got to open the school, there are many kids failing, la. Well, let me tell you this. Not all responsibility is on us teachers, because like many teachers said, on the weekends I was working. I said, well, I'm single, I'm here, I don't have anywhere to go. Let me just be here, stay safe. And day and night on the weekend, 8 o'clock in the morning until 11 and 10, watching movies at the same time, working, putting my stuff in my module for my students. I teach Spanish and doing my own little stuff there. And I said, fine, keep myself busy. But I work day and night, putting grade day and night. And then November, many kids have the bad grade harassing me every single day. Here is a letter for this parent. Here's a letter for this parent. Here's a letter for this parent. This kid is having a stress. Yeah, so why Ronci or the department or whoever is in charge have not hired good, let's say, extra assistance into getting into schools, people that deal with these students besides our own guidance? Psychological issues, this kid is having these psychological issues, this kid is having, I have over 30 students with issues. And then it's my fault that they failing when they don't log in online. So I have to lower my standard. Oh, no, you cannot teach like I teach in the classroom. I'm not teaching like I teach in the classroom. I'm modifying my curriculum, of course, but I need to teach. You tell me, teach mindfulness the first whatever minute, that's what I do. You tell me teach for 20 minutes, that's what I do. Be active with the kids on Teams, that's what I do. Okay, but you teach mindfulness, but you are not even caring about the stress when every day here is a harassment. This is a letter for the parent. You cannot do that. Come to my office. We got to talk. And then how about the teacher's state of mind? How about our stress level? So trust me, on November, I used to teach part-time at Miami-Dade College as a adjunct professor at night. And when I got national board certified, I left that job. But I said, if I wouldn't just left that job, I would have just go and teach adults. And they are losing a good teacher because not many teachers are there teaching on Teams, okay? But you tell me to do that, I love it. I create my module day and night, something interactive, and I put all my love in there for them to be, you know how many times I left the job crying? How many times every single day was a different letter? This parent complained because of this. Yeah, I never see this kid. I never see this kid. He's never active. You know, I make this phone call, but I cannot reach everybody that is failing because it's impossible. In my planning time, in my lunch time, after school, before school, I'm making phone calls. And that's all I want to say. Sorry for taking too long.
John, can I respond to Lynette? Lynette, I know you well because you reached out when I asked for some of our Spanish speaking teachers to tell their story. And it's excellent, guys. And it's on Facebook if you want to see it through Univision. But remember, John and Nancy, when we spoke last week, when I told you 2 days ago, when I told you that I asked, I begged, I put it out there and said, we need to hire this special type of task force of our social workers and that group of special skill set people to go out there and actually go find these students that are not signing in, they're not logging in, they haven't returned to school, whether it's through the computer or actually physically coming on campus, instead of putting that mandate on our social workers and our family counselors right now that are so overwhelmed, so overworked with their cases to meet the needs of the students that are assigned to them right now. I told you there's a small majority of a couple hundred, that's including psychologists, social workers, family counselors in the whole district for the 250,000 students that are in our school system. And our district ignored that. They put that money towards towards a camera that our teachers, the ones that have decided to use it, is such poor quality. Yes. And the ones that do want it, that hasn't been delivered. And then we have the teachers that they don't need it because, you know, they figured out how to bring in the double screen, another way of reaching our students with technology, that our district has chosen to put money in other places, that they just bring fake news to the parents instead of really bringing a good quality resource that all of our students in our district can really, really benefit from. And I'm saying it again, our teachers are being forced and treated horribly to get everything done in such a small time frame that they can't, that they are working all these extra hours, you know, to not get to spend quality time with themselves. I've been telling our people since day one, find something to find your own social emotional well-being so you don't lose it, so you don't crack up, so you don't get depressed, so you don't have stress, so you don't get a physical illness. So first thing I started saying when this pandemic hit, and I say it all the time, and then you have yourself taken care of, you could take care of your family, and then you could be that great teacher that we are. And with these extra mandates, it is stifling our teachers. It is harming our teachers. It's become overbearing for them. And you heard from Lynette, which you hear from everyone. And there's hundreds, there's thousands more of these stories that they work above and beyond, more than you can imagine, to make sure that they meet the needs of our students, and it's still not enough time.
Mm-hmm. Right. The only thing I'm going to say is that you don't have family away from this state. You don't have family away from this country. You have family here. Mm-hmm. We are your family. From now on, every time that I see you, te voy a llamar hermana, mi hermana del alma. No tienes que estar pensando en lo que pasó con tus hermanas, y lo siento mucho, pero tu familia está acá con nosotros, Lynette. Gracias por todo el trabajo que haces por los chiquitos en español y en tus clases. Te lo agradecemos mucho.
Thank you so much.
All right. We have Dr. Megan Nocerino, and then after that, Robert and Anisa, and then we finish for tonight. Dr. Megan?
Okay, hi guys, good evening. I know it's really late. I just wanted to say something quickly. You know, we're all going through this together, and I'm so grateful for, you know, everybody that has spoken this evening. What I think is really interesting in this situation is, like at my school, the YMCA shut down the entire after-school program. So there's no after-school program at my school because they had somebody infected, but the kids are still coming. So I'm wondering why, if an entire program was shut down because of whatever situation, why are these kids still sitting in our classrooms? And why are the adults who are working in that program, who are supposed to be quarantined, why are they still in our schools? It's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing in our county. You know, and I can't get a straight answer. I mean, that's kind of the other thing, is that our administration is not really giving an exact answer of like, well, we don't know what their protocol is and that sort of thing. But if the adults that are working in our building were exposed, we don't know, like what Lynette said, you know, we don't know what other adults are doing. But if these adults that are working in our building were exposed and their second job, because we all have a second job, if their second job was shut down and they're supposed to be quarantining, why are they not quarantining in their first job? So I guess, you know, it's like there's so many layers to this whole thing. That was kind of my thing I wanted to bring kind of to light. Well, why are these people in our building? Why are we not, if you're quarantined from your second job, why are you not quarantined from your first job? That was it.
Megan, the only thing I could tell you right now is that if that happens in our aftercare program, whether an outside company runs it or our Broward County Public Schools runs it, and they decide they need to quarantine, and people that are working in the aftercare program are our educators, and your principal is not actively taking action, which there is a serious protocol that was put in place, that I do know that some of the admin unfortunately choose to not follow it or ignore it or don't understand it. I don't know which of the three it may be. That I implore everybody to go and call the risk management department and let them know exactly what happened, and that the department works overtime, which is, by the way, is very understaffed, and is tasked to get the calls, get the emails of the online paper to fill out when people have been exposed, to do all the contract tracing. And trust me, I have dealt with some educators that their admin has told them, let's keep it between us, don't tell anybody. And the teacher just said, I can't do that. And of course, guess what? They were afraid of getting in trouble or losing their job. Risk management and some decent directives have said that we will make sure that we protect that teacher. They have every right to let people know that they are positive themselves or that they've been exposed to a positive case, so they could tell other people, so they can seek whatever they need to take care of themselves, to quarantine, go get tested, whatever it may be. So I tell everybody right now, there is on the website, there's COVID contract tracing forms to fill out through risk management, and call risk management yourself and let them know what is happening in your school. No admin has a right to tell you that we don't understand their protocol, we do our own. If you're in the same building and it's happening,
Yeah.
and you're exposed, you need to be taken care of. And I'll leave it at that, okay?
Well, and I'll say this because I'm very direct. I point blank asked, well, are we allowed, are we letting these students back into the building? Are these, you know, people who are working for this program that are working here, are they allowed to be back in the building? And I was told, well, they don't have anything to do with that because officially they don't know that they were exposed. Just that someone in YMCA was exposed like an adult. And so all these kids are at home, but some kids are there at school. I don't know. It's a kerfuffle, but and the other thing is some teachers, when they get exposed out in the community, they get to teach remotely from home and don't have to use sick time, while others don't. So it's like, I think we need, I don't know, I think we need a uniformed, and the rules need to be applied equally to everybody. And I think that we're being exposed to things simply out of ignorance, and people don't want to like rock the boat, or people don't even want to like investigate deep enough, and they're putting people at risk, and that's not right. So
Megan, I know what school you are. I will have some conversations with your principal on my journey around the district tomorrow. Actually, your school is in the area that I'll be visiting, my 10, 12 schools tomorrow. So I'll have a conversation, and I will be gracious to not mention the school's name on this forum right now.
Groovy. I'll just send you a quick synopsis, and I'd be grateful, because honestly, Anna, I've talked to him.
You don't need to. I got it. You don't need to. I got it.
Thank you so much. I've talked to him day after day, and I'm not going to ever like say anything, but I'm just at that point of like, I have, 5 teachers a night calling me stressed out about something. And I'm like, listen, let's all try to do, make the best decision for your family, make the best decision for you. But also let's, try to figure out how to be the safest we can be in the situation we're in, until we can figure out. I really thought this lawsuit, to be honest, I thought it'd be like a restraining order. You go get a restraining order, they grant it, and you get 2 weeks to figure it out. I told my teachers, I said, maybe this is like a restraining order. Give it the weekend. And, Monday we were all
the only thing I can also do, and ask everybody to understand, sometimes we have to, the Broward Teachers Union and other groups try to bring information out to people. Sometimes researching and self-educating could help. We put in for an injunction, and if anybody understands any type of law or what our court system is like, we are at the mercy of what they need, what they do to set up a court date. We have not gotten that yet. So unfortunately, we have to wait for when the courts are able to schedule a hearing. And it's not like a restraining order. It is
I know
different, but it is a course of action that we needed to take, because our superintendent and our HR chief and our school board members and the school district's attorney have decided to just go radio silence and ignore. And it doesn't matter if people are not agreeing, or they're in a banter. When you're running a professional organization and you have people's livelihoods at stake, you do not ignore. That is unprofessional and not accepted. So Megan, we're going to move on to the next person.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for sharing. Don't go anywhere. Wait, 2 more people. We have Robert Redner. Yes, is that correct? Okay. Robert, welcome.
Yeah. Mic test, can you hear me okay? Okay. I want to thank Anna for everything she's done, and I hope you're staying healthy and protected and wearing a great mask and all, because you've really led the fight. It's amazing. You gotta take care of yourself. My thoughts are, how do you save more lives going forward? Okay. And some great things were said today, and I just wanted to mention a few things. First of all, the students seem to be okay when they're coming to school, and I was lucky enough to have the to be out, and I just returned 4 days ago, because it was like come back or go on a personal leave, and I just can't do that right now. But I think there's danger with the security people and with the lunchrooms where people eat. And this also comes from, you know, yesterday being with my doctor, you know, because my blood pressure's like gone through the roof with this. But, you know, she said, you know, you're in one of those lunchrooms and people aren't wearing masks. Get the hell out of there. And, you know, so I'm going to try to eat outdoors more often. I understand that we have very special filters. They don't want us opening windows. That seems to be different than the science. I wish we could have someone independent, see if we're really getting these filters that are protecting people, because I don't think anyone knows really. And that should be checked. I think that would be a good investment. I would also think at this point, with everything going on in Washington right now, the Republicans are kind of like the rats, like on the Titanic, just, you know, running to the upper decks. And I would just think that Anna and you know, someone from the district could talk to DeSantis, and he'd be happy to, you know, move away from Trump. Everybody else is. So I hope that's being pursued in some kind of way, because now's the time. Couple of other thoughts, and it's late and everyone's tired. Social distancing. Yeah, I mean, it's too bad we can't take the temperatures of the students coming in. I had someone came in late today, and all of a sudden I look up and he's blowing his nose, and he's like, you know, 4 feet away from me, you know. So that's silly. I mean, like, he, you know, and he looked, you know, he was code 3 all over. See what happens with that. You know, those temperature checks would be great. And I think also the teachers have brought one thing on themselves that you got to realize. If they're sending everybody back, which is absolutely ridiculous, because the students are failing. And, you know, to me, it's still subjective how we judge failing. And, you know, this fight's going to go on for a while right now. It's going to be linear. A lot of people are getting infected. You know, it's slow getting everyone vaccinated right now. So, you know, as far as teachers are concerned, give your students high grades. Don't fail students. Don't support Runcie. I think it was the first thing he said. They're failing, so we're going to send them back to school, as if that's going to be the instant answer. The way of the future is distance learning. I mean, this red schoolhouse model is 250 years old. I mean, we've been doing this for like, what, you know, 7-8 months. I mean, it's not going to change instantly. And it's tough for these students to do the distance learning on these computers. So they need time to adjust. It's not going to happen instantly. They'll be okay if they're at home. I mean, most of the parents, they're on their phone. Not everybody, but, you know, we tend to look at our device all the time. So they're spending a little more time at home. They're going to be okay. Students, children, they're very resilient. So, but I think the thing that's important right now is, you know, more of an inclusion sort of model where, you know, you're not going to fail anybody, okay? Especially going forward. It'll make Anna's job easier, I think. It'll make Runcie's job easier if it looks like, hey, they're doing okay at home. And just look at, you know, multiple intelligences, Gardner, all of that kind of stuff we all know about. I think if you're one of the people who says, oh, they got to pass or they're going to get an F, I would say look at the new disability the disability requirement for the 20 in service points that you need to do your license going forward. I'm like through section 4, that's through the Bees portal. And there's some great ideas. It'll make you more compassionate, and the way it's structured and they move through, it's good. It doesn't, you can't go anywhere, but it's not so restrictive. That kind of lesson on that software, I think they did a great job. You know, keep in mind, these students here, 3 years ago, we have Stoneman, okay? You know, now we got the first epidemic in 100 years. We got them storming Washington. If you're a teenager right now, you know, some of your subject may not be that as important to them. And, you know, the cord's getting cut in TV. So, you know, you got to be open-minded. You're going to pass the kids, talk to the kids, okay? Make Anna's job easier, in my opinion. Make Runcie's job easier so that they can, they can get to DeSantis soon and get, some, word through to him that he may be ready to change that, because as I recall, it was the long meeting where they, the school board threatened to hold back the FTE money. I mean, it's all about money, and that's when things change. But we've been fighting for money and benefits ever since the union started, and it's going to continue that way. So distance learning is the way of the future. You can't expect a change to happen overnight. Let me just think a couple more thoughts and I'll get off. To FTE, so, I had a niece of mine who is, she's in the emergency department of the San Jose Hospital out in San Francisco. She's doing a residency there. Somebody comes in and they have a blow up sort of costume. She wanted to cheer people up. Well, 44 people got sick. One of the people died. My niece had had her vaccine 3 days before. And of course, that isn't long enough to really help you, but she's okay. I mean, we need these vaccines. You gotta lean on DeSantis right now. And I think it's only logical he's going to be ready to start distancing himself. Let's see.
Robert, I appreciate everything you're saying. I know you, and I can assure you, if you know me, if being on DeSantis and Richard Cochran and the powers that be with our elected officials to make sure that our educators are considered in one of the top priorities, since it's, get back into the schools with crowds. It's something that we do every single day. You might have come on late, but we shared it. Our teachers union has written a letter, writing another one. Our state and our national affiliates have written letters, and he knows that we need it. Our Broward County elected officials have written a letter. So there are tons of groups that are actively seeking out to the governor to get the vaccine to the teachers in a top priority. Getting him to listen, that's the tricky part.
No,
So
everything might have
work
changed.
in action, plan in action.
In the last 24 hours. I mean, like, who would have ever thought the Senate would be impeaching him right now? And McDonald, what's his name? McConnell flipped. So now's the time.
But we didn't wait for the 24 hours. We've been doing this before the lunatics attacked our national capital. We've been doing this way before DeSantis decided that it was okay to go out to football games without masks. So it is something that we're doing it respectfully, we're doing it professionally, and we are doing it aggressively. I promise you. Okay.
Well, thank you, Robert. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your comments and your input. Last but not least, and thank you everyone, the 174 people who are still here at 9:49 p.m. Anisha Jackson. Do we have her, Nancy? I don't know if I lost her for a minute.
I'm not seeing her. Let me try to search real quick.
Yeah, I got it right here.
You got her?
I'm just asking to ask her to unmute herself.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to voice, say my piece. I'm not going to keep everyone long because it's late. I am a social sciences teacher at Plantation High School. And back in March, just at the onset of this quarantine, I was diagnosed by my cardiologist that I was on a verge of a major cardiac arrest. Basically, I was on the verge of just dropping dead in the middle of my classroom. So the quarantine was in my favor. The medications didn't help. July 8th, I had to have an ICD implanted in my chest. Keep in mind, on top of that, I've been suffering rheumatoid arthritis for years. I am on methotrexate and one other medication, which basically battles cancer. So that means, as well as a lot of other, cardiology medicine for my heart, which my immune system is not necessarily the strongest. So I had been home until I got notice that I was supposed to return to work on January 4th. And I went that one day, and as I was sitting there, no students came. The guy came spraying whatever they sprayed to disinfect the class while I was in there, and I immediately start coughing. So he said, I'll stop and wait till you leave. Well, I end up being sent home. The principal said, my principal said I could stay home until the 11th. And I came back on the 11th. And again, every time they came in spraying that stuff, watery eyes, sneezing, coughing, just the works. It was just the works. And I was healthy because I stayed home, quarantined like I was supposed to. I had the mask on. So today I called my doctor and he told me to get some over-the-counter medication because he didn't, I didn't have the name of the product or the ingredients, well, that's in this product that they're using until about 7:50 this evening. My principal sent it. And on that report, I looked at where it said a list of symptoms that identify exposure to this sanitizer. Everything I'm experiencing is on that sheet, which I need to fax to my doctor tomorrow. So in a nutshell, I was home teaching remotely. And like many of my colleagues have said, when you're home, you're still working. And in some cases, you're working even more than you would if you're in a classroom. And I can't afford to go on leave because I'm a single woman and I can't afford to only get 72% of my pay. It's either I lose my home or at this point I go in and get sick. And this is not a decision that anyone should be making. And I'm almost a 27-year veteran of the school system. And I'm feeling like my leadership is failing me. They're turning their back on me, and you come in and you jump through the hoops, or you starve. And that's and in mind of what's going on in our reality, that is not how you treat your dedicated staff. I'm done. Thank you all so much for listening to me gripe.
So John, you heard from the other night from a second-year teacher to teachers that have been here 33 years. It doesn't matter what years you've put into this district, whether you're brand new or you're mid, or you are a true veteran towards the end of your career. They don't show any value towards our educators and our support staff. And I know when I speak on behalf of the Broward Teachers Union, which is our 18,000 of our bargaining unit members. And it's, our teachers and our support staff and our teacher assistants and our technical support professionals. But I do know on the other half of the employees in Broward County Public Schools, they don't feel valued either. You saw our bus drivers get up and talk. Our custodians are overworked. I just told you. Our cafeteria workers, our clerical staff, and in a lot of our schools, our admin, our principals, and our assistant principals, which I know that there are way more than the minority that are really doing their best that they can and valuing, and they're just getting such pressure from the higher up management that them themselves are under such pressure, and they're working on fear and scare tactics too. So I want everybody to understand out there on my last closing statement, it's the whole population in our Broward County Public Schools, and less to the true upper top management are feeling so overwhelmed, so overworked, and put in such hard decision-making positions to where, listen to our teachers, they feel so failed. So I just wanted to put that out there, that so many of our employees in our Broward County Public Schools are feeling just like us teachers and our support staff. But our teachers and our support staff, they're the ones that are, in the classrooms with the, critical content and everyday academics that Superintendent Runcie has put the most extreme pressure on. But that doesn't take away from everyone else that's feeling all other types of pressures and stresses, because they're in it too. The Broward Teachers Union is committed to continue advocating for their members, and continue advocating for the students and the parents, and continue advocating to get the vaccine a top priority. We will not stop. If those of you who know me, I'm relentless. I have a lot of endurance. I make sure I surround myself with great people that are intelligent and articulate, that are great researchers, great attorneys, extreme hard workers and advocates, and that's what we're committed to do. And I'm glad and thank the parents and the students that have also come forward and, are noticing what's really going on. They're not willing to stand by and just ignore it. They're not closing their eyes. You guys are opening your eyes, you're opening your ears, and you're opening your hearts, and you guys are doing something. And I just thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, John.
Thank you, Anna. And I don't want to take long. Just wanted to say that I'm emotionally drained. Actually, I just sent in our group text a message saying that more than ever, I'm 100% committed to this. As an immigrant who has gone through so many things, and nothing has stopped me from learning the language, all the way to incredible, crazy jobs in New York City to get into the position that I'm now as an executive. What I heard in the last 3 days is just heartbroken. I cannot stop today and said, I'm going to forget about this and I'm trying to go back to my normal life. Actually, I have spent maybe 20% of my time doing my job. And I shared this with Nancy and with Lindsay and Jessica today. It's like, but I'm committed to this. So I'm honored to, to be here to help. But I also wanted to thank, Nancy, Lindsay, Jessica, and the rest of people who have been since the first day, making this possible. To Ana Fusco, which, you see on TV and you hear from her, the tough lady, but she is an incredible human being, who really does care about everyone, the teachers, but not just the teachers, the 18,000 members, but everyone else. What I wanted to say just to close is, we're not here against the parents that made a decision to bring their kids back to school. We're not here against the parents that decided to keep their kids at home. Everyone has their own decisions and their situations at home, and we understand that. And we're not against anyone, superintendent or the board. We're here for the community. We're not against nobody. We try to change things. And that's what today I actually sent a personal invitation to the superintendent to sit down and create a roundtable with the community and with the advocates to really listen to their stories and make sure that he changes the course of where we're going, because it's getting out of control. He did reply right away, but he said that he's open to the idea. We will see what he says tomorrow, and I'll be attentive to his response in a more accurate or more date and time kind of way. And, we are going to fight for the vaccine. We are going to be there for the ADA accommodations. We are going to put pressure on the governor to make sure that those things happen. But let me tell you one thing. What we have seen here is just a lack of trust. If we have our leadership saying something straight up to our faces that is going to happen, get ready because that's going to happen, then nobody here will be complaining. We were advocating, but nobody will be complaining because we knew this was coming. There has been there has been so much miscommunication and mistrust into the system that I don't think there is a way back to build that trust again. And I'm sad to say that because I know there is people in the school district at the leadership level, at the chief level, that they do care about the students, that they do care about the teachers. Unfortunately, they're not showing it. And it has been really, really sad to see that. And also to add to that, we know that, Anna, and we know that for everyone who has been doing this fight for years, it's all about the money. Mr. Ridner said just now, it's all about the money. And unfortunately, we have to fight that back. And we have to build a system in which we could have a school board members pushing back, like they should have done many months ago when they had the option to push back to the Department of Education, and they didn't do it. So we're going to continue. What is next? We're going to have a press conference next Wednesday. We're going to send information out. We are going to be there for public comment. If you don't know how to do public comment, we will share with you after tomorrow via email. If you register, we will have your email. You will get an email with that. What else to do? What is next? Sign the petition to make the Superintendent Rusty responsible and make sure that he heard loud and clear that we are against bringing teachers with medical conditions back to the classroom. And what is next? To keep organizing. As other people said before, this meeting we had 500 people. Let's make next meeting to have 1,000 people. Invite your friends, your kids, the person that is a friend of yours that has never been involved. Tell her to come and listen to the testimonials of our teachers, of our students, of our parents, of our community members. That is how we make change, by organizing, but making sure that people heard us every step of the way until we make change possible. So again, thank you to the wonderful people who have been with us today. And I hope to see you soon. Please stay tuned. I put my information there. You guys all have Anna's information there as well. Make sure that you contact us afterwards. And we are here all the way to the long run. So thank you for being here. And again, we're here for you, teachers. Thank you so much for all your work. And we do appreciate you 100 times. And we love you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.